is homecoming in Amherst, Massachusetts, and on a gorgeous fall afternoon, we've got rivalry football coming your way here on Flow Sports. For the first time in 20 years, the UConn Huskies come to McGurk Alumni Stadium. They battle the Minutemen and welcome into the broadcast. Along with Andy Grash, Josh Maurer, so glad you're with us, folks. You know, it's crazy. How about 2 decades since UConn came here to play a football game?
And you go all the way back to 1897 for the first meeting between these two. It's amazing that it's been 20 years, but today is shaping up for a rivalry renewed here in New England.
And it's 2 young teams desperate for a win. For UConn, another start for a freshman quarterback, Jack Zergiotis. He gets the ball for Randy Edsall.
And when we talked to Edsall this week, he said he's our best prospect. He's a guy who's got great ceiling. You can see him deliver the football firmly. He does make some bad throws. He has had some interceptions this year, but you could see 2 touchdowns last week against a Houston team that is getting better on defense. For UConn, it's all about the future. That's why Zergiotis is playing quarterback.
Meanwhile, we still don't know who's going to be the signal caller for UMass. We do know that the senior defensive back, Isaiah Rogers, is going to be wreaking havoc.
Yeah, and whether it's in the return game or the ability to pick the ball off and make a big play, Isaiah Rogers for 4 years here in Amherst, Josh, has been a big play guy. Find a way to get the football in his hands, he will make something happen. I'm a little surprised they haven't handed it to him on a jet sweep on offense. He is that explosive. Zergiotis has got to make sure not to test Isaiah Rogers too much today.
A couple of teams with just 1 win on this season. Somebody's going to come away with number 2 here this afternoon. The opening kickoff is coming up from McGurk right after this. Here come the Minutemen on their homecoming. UMass and UConn, a couple of old Yankee Conference rivals, getting set to meet here in Amherst. On the sidelines for us is one of the great receivers that UMass has had in decades. And in program history, we go down to Brandon London and say good afternoon. How is it, Brandon, down there?
Oh, I love the energy down here, guys, right now. And I've been watching this UMass offense pregame. Now, we don't know who the quarterback is going to be on this season-long carousel, but it's clear to see that the offense runs through running back Bilal Ali. On defense, for UMass, it's easy. Stop somebody. And you guys mentioned Jack Zergiotis earlier. Now, he has to do 2 things, be consistent and be confident, but he has running back Kevin Mensah to take some of that workload off. And prior to the game, I talked to defensive coordinator Lou Spanos, and I asked him what he wanted to see from his defense, and he said it's simple. He wants to see them fly around on all 3 levels.
And thanks so much. UConn just won the coin toss, but they elected to defer, and so that means that UMass's offense will get on the field first. And we're going to get the answer to the mystery question of who's going to be the quarterback today.
Well, if we were to take a guess here, Josh, I would think that since Andrew Brito is dressed, I would think he would get the nod, but Michael Curtis has started the last couple of games. We know Randall West is in that mix as well, but I think Brandon made a very good point, and that is when you think about this UMass offense, it needs to run through Bilal Ali, meaning they need to be able to run the ball. They got to win on the line of scrimmage and win up front. And quite honestly, I think it's kind of a break that Walt Bell, the 4th youngest head coach in FBS football, and his UMass Minutemen get the ball here first. Put some points up. It's homecoming. You know everybody is all jacked up, and you get the ball into the hands of Isaiah Rogers.
We talked about how it's been 20 years since UConn played a football game here. How about Randy Edsall was the head coach in his first season, in his first stint with the Huskies in that year?
I go all the way back to Randy Edsall's beginning and when they played in the old stadium on campus. That's how old I am. I played both in here at McGurk and the old stadium at UConn.
Mason Donaldson is a wide receiver by trade. He does the kickoffs these days for the Huskies, and he gets us underway with Isaiah Rogers, a chance to run one from the 5. Tried to reverse field left. Now goes back to his right. And Rogers somehow gets that ball up near the 30-yard line.
What a great job by Isaiah Rogers to be able to make something out of nothing. It looked like he was going to be able to break it, but that's that explosiveness we talked about here in the open. And who do we see in the huddle?
Well, the man coming out with his helmet on, number 12, Andrew Brito. You nailed it, Mr. Gresh. He has been out the last 3 games. You have to go all the way back to the Coastal Carolina game, which was in the middle of September, the last time he was healthy. And Brito gets his 3rd start. To the near sideline, and a good pass to Zach Simon, very near a UMass first down. Well, Brito completing 59% of his passes. Before he got injured, it was a head injury. He's thrown a couple of touchdowns and been intercepted 4 times. A junior college transfer. 2nd down and 1. That'll move the chains into the arms of his senior tight end, Kyle Horn. Well, what do we look for a diminutive quarterback in Andrew Brito when he's behind center?
Can't get pressure up the middle. You got to be able to give him throwing lanes. And if you're a tackle and you get beat on the rush, try to push them past Brito, let him step up in the pocket.
To throw it for a 3rd straight play and a 3rd straight completion. Forward progress up to the 45-yard line for Brennan Dingle.
And right away, what do we see from UMass? They're trying to play fast. They're trying to get the ball out of Andrew Brito's hands. And also, we're seeing them spread this UConn defense out. Force them to put an extra defensive back on the field. Maybe it opens up abilities underneath to be able to run with Bilal Ali.
There's his first touch. And Ali right up the gut. To the midfield stripe, it'll be 3rd down and 2 as Bilal Ali has gone over 1,000 career rushing yards in 3 seasons with the Minutemen.
Yeah, Ali is the consistent, I think, in this UMass offense, but it's also up to the offensive line to allow him to be consistent.
A bobbled snap by Brito, and the Huskies have the football. Off the hands of the quarterback who was standing in the shotgun. And UConn gets a turnover in Minutemen territory.
It's number 44, Ian Swenson, who falls on the ball. Bad snap. And Brito can't. Brito, what he tried to do was reach for it so he could keep keep the integrity of whether it was either going to be a play fake or a handoff. Instead of thinking football first, he was thinking, can I get the ball and be able to make the play fake?
The recovery by the outside linebacker Ian Swenson, as you said, and now Zergiotis going to work with a handoff to Mensah. Nice shifty run. Kevin Mensah gains 10.
One of the issues for the UMass defense this year has been tackling, especially at the point of attack. They got to make sure to get around the legs of Kevin Mensah, 5'9", almost 200 pounds, but you can see he runs with, I don't want to go great vengeance and furious anger, but it's pretty close to it. He's a very hard, tough runner. You got to get him around the legs.
And he's one of the few players on the field today for either team that played in the game between these teams last year. A completion and a first down thrown by Zergiotis. A chest-high pass brought in by the freshman wideout Matt Drake.
Well, this UMass defense is going to be tested early, but Josh, there are reinforcements on this UMass defense this week. Some guys and fresh bodies to be able to mix in.
Tyrus LeBeau is back in the linebacking core. That's one of the headliners there, Andy. He had been out the last 3 games. From the 30 of the Minutemen, Mensah hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. Jarvis Miller, the Penn State grad transfer, was the first man there.
Well, and Jarvis Miller, and on the edge, Chinenu Agbada, number 17. We look for these guys to really help out, and a nice job. And I mean help out in the run game. Did you see what Miller did there? Right hand out, sliding down the line of scrimmage, so he still had the ability to play something that came to him on the outside, but slid down to make the tackle without chasing like a dog on the inside.
5 wide receiver set for Zergiotis, who threw for 270 yards in the loss to Houston last week. A deep shot for the end zone, and just out of the reach of Ardell Brown. Division II transfer, Ardell Brown. It's going to be 3rd and 11.
Well, and that's a big matchup right there for UConn that they tried to exploit, and a really good job by the young quarterback, Jack Zergiotis. You have Ardell Brown on Tyrus LeBeau, one of the returning Minutemen defenders, and you'll take a wide receiver on a running back every time, and those cheerleaders need to watch out.
Probably not in field goal range yet. From here, you'd have about a 48-yard kick. 3rd down and 11. As UConn tries to take advantage of the early turnover. The grad transfer Art Tompkins is in the backfield. They swing it out to Tompkins. Not much doing. There's LeBeau making an immediate impact. And what do you do if you're Randy Edsall on 4th and 8?
Well, I think you got to go for it here. Unless you have the ability to kick the field goal, there's really no point in punting. And this is just a basic swing route. What I would have liked to have seen is, and I don't blame him for taking the shot, but if you get something like that or a couple of yards on 2nd down to cut down your 3rd down distance, maybe it's convertible versus being in 3rd and 11.
And now it's going to be 4th down. As you say, they will go for it. 9 yards needed to keep the opening drive alive. Pressure picked up. The pass is caught for the 1st down by Ardell Brown. Timing pattern, and what a throw by Zergiotis.
Great throw by Zergiotis, and if you noticed, they didn't work the side of Isaiah Rogers. Looks like Ardell Brown is down at the spot of the catch, but they work towards the freshman corner, Josh Wallace. Trying to see what happened there to Brown, if he just fell funny or might have taken a knee upon making the catch. It's a good rip here by Zergiotis. Might have just got twisted up a little bit, but you could see Josh Wallace with the head in the air of the, wow, I can't believe I gave that one up.
While they work on Ardell Brown, the transfer will step aside as UConn is in the red zone. Nothing early. UMass, as you mentioned, Andy Gresh, getting some injured players back, at least expected to be back on the field today. And these are all guys who have played significant roles this year.
And we saw linebacker Tyrus LeBeau earlier in coverage, the corner Dante Lindsay. I think getting Wilson Frederick back along that defensive line. We've talked to Walt Bell all year long about what they haven't had up front. Having Frederick back is a very big development.
Ardell Brown made his way off the field after his 11-yard reception came on 4th and long. So UConn continues its opening march. And Zergiotis operating out of the shotgun. This is Tompkins. Only for a couple. Art Tompkins played 4 years at Toledo. He's an old MAC player before coming over to UConn as a grad transfer. You take a look at the 2 safeties there for UMass, Martin Mangrum and Elijah Johnson. The Minutemen have had a lot of issues defensively with attrition, Gresh, but perhaps no more has that been felt than at the safety spot. Both James Bowe and Joseph Norwood, starting safeties, are off the team. Mensah cuts to the outside. Mensah in for the touchdown. 17 yards, and UConn strikes first.
That's a big score for UConn because they've scored 16 of 18 in the red area, but the touchdown percentage was only at 67%. UConn's had issues punching the ball into the end zone, and as we mentioned, Mensah, almost 200 pounds. He's a big, violent type runner. You saw him with the burst of speed right there into the end zone for the score.
And now it's Clayton Harris, the redshirt freshman, for the PAT. 7-0. The Huskies in front. UConn takes advantage of the Brito fumble, and they get it in with this.
Nice job on the bounce outside by Kevin Mensah. Good block on the outside to get him into the end zone. In a rivalry renewed, the Huskies are up 7-0.
Nice crowd filing in. It's a perfect fall afternoon for football in Amherst, and UConn leads the game 7-0. Let's check in with Brandon on the sidelines.
Hey guys, I was standing right there on that fourth down conversion to wide receiver Arnell Brown, and he seemed to have injured that right ankle. Now, he had already previously had a brace on it, but on the sidelines, they took the brace off, retaped him. He tested it, running up and down the sideline, making a couple cuts. Hopefully he can get back out there soon, because Jack Zergiotis is going to need him.
That was the key play in that drive, I thought, Gresh. 4th and 9, and Ardell Brown caught an 11-yard pass to keep it going. Rodgers from a yard deep in the end zone coming out. Spins and is popped to the ground and lost the football. UConn thinks they have it. Let's see what the signal's going to be. The kickoff man, Donaldson, has the football, and now let's get the call. It is Huskies ball.
Well, there's the good and the bad of Isaiah Rodgers. Our greatest strength is sometimes our greatest weakness. He's trying to make a play. Oh, he just gets stuck by Jeremy Lucien. The corner ended up sticking him in. You know, he got a little sloppy. You see how the football's away from his body? And as he spins, he needs to protect that ball whenever he spins and get two hands on it. It's not a natural thing to do, which is to spin, put the extra hand on it like you're a ball carrier. However, what you can do is tuck that ball up against your body, not give it the ability to be popped out.
That's the second UMass turnover, and here's the pitch. Cam Ross, the wide receiver, their leading wideout as a true freshman, gets that on a little short toss from Zergiotis.
And look, if you're going to take the good with Isaiah Rodgers, you're going to have to live with some of the bad. And at times, he gets a little sloppy with the football there. But we see UConn getting right back on the horse offensively. Is that a pass or a run nowadays? It feels like a handoff, but I guess it's a pass. I don't know.
You get the passing yardage if you're the quarterback as long as you throw it forward. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6, and a quick hit into the middle. Ardell Brown, apparently that ankle's okay, and Brown with blockers out in front. It'll be 1st and goal for the Huskies.
Tell you what, that is not the way. Offensive coordinator Frank Giuffre ended up drawing it up, but it worked, and you could see Ardell Brown is still limping right there, but good explosiveness. That's just supposed to be a quick wide receiver screen. We see this a ton on Saturdays and Sundays, and with nowhere to go, he kicks in the speed, ends up picking a block on the backside there from Kevin Mensah, and a nice job by Ardell Brown to keep his head up, make a play, but not necessarily put himself in a lot of danger.
23 yards on a couple of plays. That was a 15-yard completion. Mensah. Nothing doing. How about 2 fumbles lost by UMass in the opening, 7 minutes of this game? Less than that. You lose 2 fumbles, it's devastating.
No question, and there are very few teams in football, period, who are good enough to be able to overcome those kinds of mistakes. I think the most damaging part of it was where those fumbles occurred. You ended up giving a UConn offense that has struggled at times this year, short field positions, putting a lot of pressure early on this UMass defense.
Yeah, the first touchdown drive, they only needed to go 45 yards. 2nd and goal, 6 yards away. Zergiotis. Time running out. Let's see if that's ruled an incomplete pass. It is. Apparently the arm was coming forward as the pressure got to Zergiotis.
Yeah, that was close. I'd like to see that again, because the backside pressure and the hit on Zergiotis, it looked like the arm was back versus going forward. Chinenu Agbana, boy, it's so close, because when he hit him on the shoulder, the arm went forward, so I don't think it would be overturned, but boy, that was close. If he hits the arm right here instead of the shoulder, that ball would have come out and been UMass's.
Instead, 3rd and goal. To the left corner of the end zone. Incomplete with no flags. True freshman corner Josh Wallace with the coverage on Elijah Jeffries.
4th down, UConn after Josh Wallace. 3rd down, trying to get it in the end zone. They went at Josh Wallace. Early, they're staying away from Isaiah Rogers and attacking the true freshman.
And Clayton Harris, the place kicker, is on the field for Connecticut. Even if he makes this, Gresh, I think this will feel like a win for the UMass defense after that fumble.
No question.
Harris from 25 yards. Blocked. And guess who blocked it? It's the man who lost the fumble, Isaiah Rogers.
You take the good with the bad, but in almost every game he's played in, Isaiah Rogers makes a big play. And yep, he coughed it up on the spin, but what a great job of coming off the edge right there. This guy is a heck of a special teams player, and that's just a great job from a veteran Minuteman coming off the edge to block that kick.
Again, this is only a 25-yard attempt, and nobody from UConn put a hand on Rogers off the edge.
Yeah, and when you're the wing, you got to protect the inside, but you can't let a free rusher come right off the edge. No one ends up blocking him. The closest guy is 91 Jay Rose, a tight end. Rose is just clearly leaning in. Should have widened his base a little bit and got that left leg out there.
Brito takes a deep shot into double coverage, and it's an interception. 3 turnovers in the first half of the first quarter by UMass. It's O'Neal Robinson, the safety.
And this is just not a very smart decision by quarterback Andrew Brito. I understand wanting to press the ball down the field, but not only did he throw it into double coverage, Josh, he held it in the pocket. So when you pull it down and reposition yourself in the pocket, you better make sure the receiver is coming open. Look at Brito right here. See, he gets bumped, then he makes the throw. That little tick right there allows defenders to close in. Just not a very good decision there by Andrew Brito.
Robinson came in with 5 tackles last week against Houston. He had not played very much all season prior. 2 lost fumbles and a pick for UMass already. And Zergiotis, that ball is picked off, and it's Rogers. Incredible. Isaiah Rogers, in the span of 3 snaps, has blocked a field goal and picked off a pass.
So in just a half a quarter of football, we've had 4 turnovers in this game, which is pretty amazing. And I don't know what Zergiotis is looking at here. Cameron Hairston is not looking for the football. I know he's got to get him on the slant. UMass ended up bringing some pressure. It was Elijah Johnson coming off the corner blitz, but Isaiah Rogers was looking at the quarterback and the receiver wasn't.
Bilal Ali, nothing, maybe a half a yard as we go back to live action and try to catch our collective breath. My goodness. Well, you know, when you've got 2 teams that are 1-6, you might see some sloppy play. I don't think even we could have envisioned this.
Young quarterbacks.
Ali again, and falls forward for a yard. It'll be 3rd down and long. For Isaiah Rogers, he now has 11 career interceptions.
And I know that UMass wants to play fast here, but your defense has been on the field the majority of the quarter. I'd like to see them slow the pace down a little bit and give their defense a chance to catch their breath.
3rd down and 8 for Brito. Into double coverage again for O.C. Johnson, and wow, what a catch! How did he get that football in among 2 Husky defenders?
I thought there was a chance that was going to get deflected or maybe even intercepted, because it looked like Brito locked onto him while standing in the pocket. Oh, that's a great catch by O.C. Johnson, and a heck of a throw from Brito.
UMass tried to take a quick snap while you watch that replay. Then let's go to our referee for the call on the penalty.
Snap infraction, number 67, offense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So you make a big play, and it sounded like 67 Dalton Tomlinson, the center, ended up getting the call against him. Boy, that was a gutsy throw from Brito and a great catch from O.C. Johnson.
We're going to talk about having confidence. If you are Andrew Brito, the last time you threw to O.C. Johnson in double coverage, it was an interception. He did it again, and this time he threaded the needle. OC's 25th catch of his freshman season. And on 1st and 15, only a couple for Bilal Ali.
However, I do think while Andrew Brito needs to take chances, and they did connect on that ball to O.C. Johnson, to your point, he still threw it into double coverage. You can't be doing that all game long. Andrew Brito's going to have to make better decisions along the way.
Brito down the middle. He's got Kyle Horn, the tight end, dragging a tackler to make it 1st and goal for UMass.
You know,
the redshirt senior.
Our guy Adam Brenneman is on the sidelines down there smiling because this is a lot of what he used to do. Get into single coverage and then just drag somebody with you an extra 5 yards. Great effort by Kyle Horn, dragging a Huskies defender inside the 5.
UMass, remarkably, is 3 yards away from tying this football game. Ali hit quickly and gets down to about the 2. Bilal Ali is a good man at getting it over the goal line in traffic. Jackson Mitchell, the middle linebacker, the freshman, is the one who wrapped him up.
Yeah, and Mitchell met him in the backfield, and Ali did a good job of still finding a way to get an extra 3 feet on that play.
They'll try him again. Bilal Ali is in for the touchdown, UMass. 3 turnovers in about 7.5 minutes. But then Isaiah Rogers gets UMass the football back, and this time they find Pater.
And Bilal Ali wins a battle at the goal line against the young sophomore, number 17, O'Neal Robinson. As you mentioned, Josh, Ali, very good at getting the ball into the end zone, and he punches it across the goal line for the Minutemen. And you mentioned it earlier, a chance to tie this football game, and you're -2 in the turnover ratio.
And it's Cooper Garcia. The extra point is coming up. 18 of 19 on the season is Cooper Garcia. Even Steven, Gresh. I don't know that I can ever remember feeling more surprised to have a game tied after what had transpired early than I do right now.
And then you see the interception right here from Isaiah Rogers. We talked about his big playability in the open, and then UMass offensively able to put together a drive, results in Bilal Ali getting into the end zone. They may have turned it over a bunch, but the game is tied here in Amherst.
Andy Gresh, we highlighted Isaiah Rogers in our open. He giveth away, and then he taketh back for UMass. First it was the fumble, then these 2 great plays.
And the block kick you see coming off the edge, and right here, ball gets thrown right to him. He's looking at the quarterback, the wide receiver isn't. And Isaiah Rogers, again, you take the good with the bad. Sometimes he's going to cough up the pill trying to make a big play in the return game, but whether it's intercepting the football or blocking a kick, he can impact the game. And if you're Walt Bell, you got to be thinking, hey man, we've gotten through our bad start. We're back to even Steven here. Let's clean it up, settle down, and go play a better brand of football.
Art Tompkins is a dangerous kick returner for UConn. He'll get his first chance at one as Cooper Garcia is set to send it deep. Tompkins from the 8. To about the 28-yard line. And let's go to Brandon London on the sideline. He's got more on Isaiah Rogers. Brandon?
Yeah, guys, I want to continue on the praise of Isaiah Rogers and how special he is to not only this defense, but to this team. We mentioned the fumble on the kickoff return, but how he answered with the blocked field goal and then the INT, which led to UMass points. Now, this is a guy who's not only a leader for this defense, but he's also a leader for this entire team.
He got banged up at the end of the last game UMass played, the loss at Louisiana Tech before the bye week, and it looked serious. Had to be helped off the field in Louisiana. Spencer carries for about 3. The good news is UMass had a bye. We showed you all the players who were able to come back who had been out, and perhaps Isaiah Rogers needed that breather as much as anybody.
Yeah, and I think UMass as a football team needed the breather, Josh. They needed just a little bit of downtime. And I heard Walt Bell this week talk about, hey, it might be more mental than it is physical. When you think of going through 4 weeks of camp, 7 weeks of playing college football, you just need a mental break. And I know they worked on some conditioning, getting people healthy. They seem to have been renewed in between the years here.
Mensah down the far sideline, and now it's a foot race. They just get him out of bounds. LeBeau, who crashes with an official over an advertisement, pushed him out over the sideline.
Well, this is the second time we've seen UMass get big yards over the left side, and on both instances, it was Kevin Mensah. No one touching him at the first level. Great block by Matt Pert, one of the leaders on the UConn offensive line, and then it's down the sidelines. And you mentioned Travis LeBeau wiping out an official there, but Kevin Mensah, boy, he's on his way to 100 yards already here in the first quarter.
That was a 45-yard run. Remember, he had a 17-yard touchdown earlier in the quarter. On a pitch again, it's Cam Ross, and the freshman wideout Ross into the red zone. Gain of 9 for the Huskies. Ross has been a revelation. Coming in as a rookie, he's already got 33 receptions this year.
Last week against Houston, it was 9 catches for 75 yards, and these are the kinds of players that head coach Randy Edsall wants to get into the lineup. Nice job by the offensive line to give him a crease to be able to run through, but UConn, a lot like UMass, thinking of the future and giving young players like Ross plenty of opportunities to grow.
Cam Ross from Newark, Delaware. 2nd and 1. Tompkins has the ball. Art Tompkins, 1st and goal. Huskies down to the 2. Elijah Johnson. Because of all the change at safety that UMass has undergone, he's getting starts. He hadn't even played a game in his college career until a few weeks ago.
Nice job by the UConn offensive line there. They pull Cam DeGeorge, number 70. He gets around very cleanly. Right now, the UConn offensive line leaning on this UMass defense that's been on the field a bunch here in the first quarter.
Goal to go, 1st down. Kevin Mensah right up the middle and in for the touchdown. The Worcester native has scored twice in the quarter for Connecticut.
And UConn didn't disguise what they were doing there. 1 wide receiver in the game. We're just going to line up and play bully ball around the goal line. And this touchdown drive was really about the UConn offensive line doing a nice job of opening up room to run for both Kevin Mensah and Cameron Ross.
Took them only 4 plays to go 71 yards. The extra point from Harris makes it 14-7. 3 of those 4 plays, beg your pardon, it took 5 plays, but 4 of them were handoffs.
Right up the middle, right into your living room, a couple of down blocks, and Kevin Mensah, you give him that clean a lane to the end zone, he's going to find a way to be able to punch it in. And again, nice job by a UConn offensive line that Randy Edsall even told us they've been a little bit up and down, you know, from the center, left guard, left tackle. They've been okay. You've had some, you got a freshman in there, Christian Haynes at right guard, and you got Ryan Vandemark at right tackle. So they've been up and down a little bit, but nothing up and down about their play on that drive.
UConn already 138 total yards here in the first quarter alone.
Check this out. Average time of drive for UMass, 1 minute and 55 seconds. But what jumps out at me, 53 drives have been under 1 minute. And if you're not consistently producing points, that does end up putting a lot of pressure on your defense. How about the longest drive of the year? Only 5 minutes and 56 seconds at Charlotte. So there is something called complementary football. And if you're going to play fast, you better score points. And that's what Walt Bell is trying to find the balance of with his offense.
Mason Donaldson. Isaiah Rogers from the 1-yard line. Look out, Rogers with space. dancing and gets across the 30-yard line. Oh, is he slippery.
Tell you what it is with Isaiah Rodgers too, Josh, is he runs right at defenders, reads it, and then makes his break off of it. You see a lot of kick return guys who get back there and they ping-ding-a-ling around and they dance around trying to just avoid everybody. I love about Isaiah Rodgers is he'll get north-south, he'll run at someone, then he'll make a definitive cut off of it. And yeah, you got to deal with the occasional spin move, but that's why this guy's one of the better returners in college football.
On the handoff, UMass gets it to Ali again, the touchdown maker on the last drive, and he goes up the middle for 8 yards. Isaiah Rodgers, by the way, is 7th in the nation in kickoff return yardage coming in. He averages 30 yards per kick return. And there's Ali making it 2nd and short.
And not all of those kick returns are 30 yards, across the board kind of average. There are big plays mixed in there. That's a big run from Bilal Ali to be able to get a first down and move the chains for this UMass offense. But to your point, you could argue the most explosive player on this football team with the ball in their hands is Isaiah Rodgers.
And this is tough sledding here for Ali.
Big physical. Look at him protect that football. What a good job with ball security.
Brito takes a shot near sideline. Miscommunication there with Zach Simon. You had the corner, Keyshawn Paul, closer to the football.
Yeah, I think Paul and Simon sort of got involved in a little bit of a hand check in there, but I like the read from Brito. He gets one-on-one, and he throws the ball towards the sideline, so it's not inside that. You don't want to throw it out of bounds like he did, but you want to throw it to where only your guy can catch it near the sideline and avoid that interception.
That was only the 2nd incompletion for Brito. He's 5 for 7, make it 6 for 8. Oh, and Simon slipped the tackle of Paul, and then he slipped. Otherwise, he had more yardage to gain.
Simon and O.C. Johnson, the two productive wide receivers for UMass, and there's Isaiah Rodgers there. Looks like he's just getting he's just getting spatted up. It's okay. We can ask Brandon London about that. You know what I mean? Like, linemen don't care about getting spatted up, but the wide receivers, they want to look good.
Spatted up. Is that in the Merriam-Webster dictionary? That
it is a football term, just like I'm seeing ghosts.
Right. Zach Simon on the final play of the quarter. UMass has a first down, and the Minutemen trail by 7. I got to tell you, folks, if you want some interesting football, this is the place to be here this afternoon. Huskies by 7 on the road. The visitors from Storrs have a touchdown lead, 14-7 after 1 quarter. You can see this is a great rivalry. It goes back a century just about, Andy Gresh. But they hadn't played in a long time before last year. They played in a nor'easter in East Hartford, and UMass came from behind in the 4th quarter to get the win. We'll talk more about this as the game goes along, but with UConn going FBS independent following this season, you figure that this could be an annual thing again in the near future.
It should be.
1st and 10 at the UConn 40. Brito, a deep shot. O.C. Johnson wide open for the touchdown. Running free, the freshman. And Brito throws the score to open the 2nd quarter.
What a great route by O.C. Johnson. He ends up spinning around the young sophomore, number 17, O'Neal Robinson. Andrew Brito had plenty of time in the pocket, and as soon as he saw the weight transfer from O'Neal Robinson, he knew that he was going to have O.C. Johnson wide open and dropped it right over the shoulder for the easy score.
Garcia's extra point levels this one again. How about the first half for that man? Freshman out of the Washington, D.C. area, O.C. Johnson. He has a 36-yard catch, and now he adds a 40-yard catch, Gresh.
Andrew Brito had it locked in from the very beginning. He knew he had one-on-one coverage, and you can see how far behind O'Neal Robinson was. Watch Brito's eyes right here. staring him. Whoop! As soon as he's out of position, he lets that ball go down towards the end zone. And an easy pitch and catch for Andrew Brito to the explosive O.C. Johnson. And you can see Walt Bell over there coaching him up, talking about their ability to take advantage of some of those young defenders in the UConn defense.
Went to DeMatha High School, famous for its great high school basketball program there in Maryland in the D.C. area. He was recruited by Walt Bell, was O.C. Johnson, when Bell was still the offensive coordinator at Maryland. And when Walt, a couple of years later, got the job here as the head coach at UMass, one of the first phone calls he made was to O.C. Johnson. He said, hey, you remember me? Guess what? I got a scholarship waiting for you up in Massachusetts.
Not only did he have a scholarship waiting for him, but he had instant playing time, and that's what a lot of kids are looking for. O.C. Johnson has taken advantage of those opportunities here in his freshman year.
And now Garcia, they kick to Tompkins. Art Tompkins from the 7-yard line. Blocking set up. Tompkins gets the sideline. Johnson is the one to bring him down for UMass at the Minutemen 45-yard line.
And we saw Walt Bell coaching up O.C. Johnson on the sideline. And right at the end of that, you could see someone yelling for him to get out there on the kick coverage team. Luckily, he was out there because they needed the speed off of the return from Art Tompkins. Good change of direction. So he holds that football up against his elbow and against his body and then covered it up when O.C. Johnson made the tackle. Good job on both sides there, not only on the tackle by Johnson, but with the ball security for Art Tompkins.
A 48-yard kick return. I tell you, Gresh, this game has not lacked for exciting plays.
There's no question about that. Not all of it's been the cleanest of games, but it's been a heck of a lot of fun.
Zergiotis to the air, and a completion. Cam Ross tripped up by Martin Mangrum by the ankles. Otherwise, that would have gone even further.
Yeah, Cam Ross, what I like about that play he just made there is that acceleration and explosiveness. And watch this ball come out of Zergiotis' hands. And then here you go. Here come the Jets. Get right around the corner and avoid the tackle of one of the Minutemen defenders. You know, you really can't tell a guy's acceleration until you're seeing them in person. Cameron Ross can go 0 to 60 pretty quick.
A gain of 16 to start the drive, and now UConn knocking on the door. Spinning to his left, Zergiotis just throws it away. Jake Bisco was coming at him. And it'll be second down. Just a smart play by the freshman quarterback.
Yeah, tried to take a shot down the field, but good pressure by the Minutemen defense. And, you know, you mentioned about all the interesting plays. This is another one here. Zergiotis, you see Bisco flash. He rolls out, tries to get it down. Nope. Smart. Let me just flip it out of bounds and throw it away. And that's a good incompletion right there. Randy Edsel will not be upset at that because Zergiotis tried to extend the play as Bisco flashed, but a good job of just flipping it out of bounds and living to play another day.
Kevin Mensah tackled by the ankles by Jarvis Miller after a gain of 4. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for Mensah in the first quarter. He rushed for 76 yards and a couple of scores.
Yeah, and he was pretty close to breaking that one right there. I really like Kevin Mensah's game, and there's the defensive line for UMass. Bisco, Grant Laws mixed in there as well. You don't have a ton of veterans or a ton of beef along that defensive front. You see Timothy Moulton right there coming in and listed at 240 pounds. Those guys are going to have to hold up against a very big group of UConn offensive linemen.
Here's a big play. It's 3rd and 6 on the edge of field goal range. They hand it to Tompkins. He's got the first down and more. Art Tompkins into the end zone. Touchdown. What a draw play. Wow, 25 yards.
What a run by Art Tompkins. It looked like he was going to get tackled right around the 5-yard line. I was about to get on number 91, the tight end Jay Rose, who had down inside the 5, and instead of blocking somebody, he's calling that Tompkins is going to get in the end zone for the touchdown. I'm thinking he ain't going to get there, and somehow number 1 ended up getting the ball across the goal line. What a run by Art Tompkins, and let's give credit to the UConn offensive line. they are creating a lot of open real estate for both Kevin Mensah and Tompkins.
Clayton Harris makes it 21-14. You know, I think Tompkins could rightfully say, I deserved a touchdown on this drive, Gresh, because he set it up with the long kickoff return, and then he does this on third down.
Good blocking down the field. He works around his blockers very well. UMass with some shoddy tackling. Art Tompkins gets into the end zone. 21-14. Huskies have the lead here in Amherst in a back-and-forth battle.
Back and forth we go. UConn with a 21-14 lead. Randy Edsall is back for a second go-around to lead that Husky program in stores. You can see what he did the first time. And Gresh, he took that program from the 1AA level all the way up to the Big East. And as you can see, a Fiesta Bowl before going to Maryland. Now he's back to try to resurrect things.
Yeah, Randy Edsall was in part brought back because there was a lot of unrest among fans. I was doing radio in Hartford then, and there were a lot of people who were really just beginning to get disenfranchised, I guess, with this program where it was, okay, you know, I'm pouring my blood and soul into it. I'm following. I love basketball. I'm trying to get into football. They needed somebody that the fans would believe in, and Randy Edsall was that guy coming back here. And, oh, that ball goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Unfortunate for UConn. But Randy Edsall was necessary to...
The ball replaced at the 35-yard line. First down.
Randy Edsall's hiring was necessary to try to restore the faith in the UConn faithful relative to the football program. And now there's more unrest with the moving out of the American Conference and going to independent in football. But I think because Randy Edsall is the head coach, UConn fans are not going to bail on the program just because they're not affiliated with a conference, because they believe in him.
In his tenure, in the 3 years he's been back, he's got a record of 5-26. And again, this is their final year playing in the AAC. Brito right back with a deep shot. Brennan Dingle just overthrown. He had the safety, Tyler Coyle, in coverage.
We're going to get a penalty on UMass, illegal man downfield.
Flag is back at that line of scrimmage.
Another receiver downfield before the offense. He was covered. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
You're so smart. How'd you know that?
The penalties decline. Second down and 10.
UConn's going to take the incomplete pass instead.
Yeah, keep it 2nd and 10, which quite honestly is a smart play. And I can spot when people are illegally downfield because I've had that called on me a couple times.
You did. Trying to get out in front of a screenplay or something. Brito. Melvin Hill hitting the back as he catches that pass for 5 yards to make it 3rd and 5.
I'll tell you what, we played up here one year when I was at Rhode Island, and I had 3 holding calls on, I think, 7 plays. And I remember getting just completely undressed on the sideline, and then I didn't go back in.
3rd and 5, and Brito off the hands of Kyle Horn, his tight end. Good blanketing coverage on that too, though, by Omar Fort, the linebacker, who is UConn's leading tackler coming in.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there with Kyle Horn, but I don't think it really disrupted his ability to catch the football. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about how fast UMass likes to play and how many drives around a minute that they've had this year. This is another one, and again, putting pressure on this UMass defense. That's the balance of playing fast, scoring points, and putting your defense in good positions.
This is the first punt of the game, and George Georgopoulos shanked it out of bounds, keeping it away from Quavon Skanes. They're going to mark this thing all the way up past the 35. They finally stopped, the side judge did, at the 39-yard line. Not a good punt by Georgopoulos, and he's hearing about it. UConn will try for a 2-score lead when we come back here early in the 2nd quarter. UConn has the football back. It was only a 21-yard punt, and the Huskies starting near their 40-yard line. Josh Maurer, Andy Gresh, thanks for being with us, folks. Well, UConn's offense has been, for the most part, unstoppable here in this first half. What does UMass have to do defensively to turn the tide?
I think they're going to have to get a little more aggressive around the line of scrimmage, and UConn's offensive line has really been able to lean on the front 3 or 4 of this UMass defense. So now if you're UConn, you spread them out, try to get somebody out of that proverbial box, and continue running the ball.
Zergiotis to Mensah. Right up the gut, Kevin Mensah. Another big run. Let's check in with Brandon London to talk a little bit more about that UMass defense. Brandon, we're seeing a lot of big plays against them.
You're seeing how dominant that UConn rush game is. Now, when the UMass defense came to the sideline after that touchdown, coaches were telling them terminology like get in the right gaps, be in the proper shades, use pad techniques. They think some of these runs can be prevented by fit discipline. Let's see how this UMass defense holds up.
That drive just started with an 18-yard gain by Mensah. Right back to him. Ran into Akbana first, and Jarvis Miller helped out.
And Josh, there are different things that you can do as you see Miller hopping around there on the tackle. It's more than just blitzing and bringing pressure, right? You can slant to the tight end. You can slant to the field if you feel like you've got a good read on what you think UConn might be able to do. And here Brandon mentioned about staying in your gaps and being, assignment sound. There are some things that Azar Abdul-Rahim can do other than just bringing blitz pressure to try to slow the run.
Here comes a blitz, and Zergiotis finds his tight end, Jay Rose. It'll be 3rd down and short. Fresh, it's amazing. UConn is averaging 11 yards per carry. They've already rushed for 140 yards. Mensah is already at the century.
And what I like about this throw here from Jack Zergiotis is he took what was there to complement what you were talking about, Josh. You're not going to rip it for 11 yards per carry, but you're going to set yourself up to have big runs by being in 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 8.
Zergiotis now 8 for 13 through the air. 3rd down. Mensah, 1st down and more. Kevin Mensah, they are just chewing up yards on the ground, and he's inside the 25.
A little bit of what I just talked about right there. So to the boundary, the short side of the field where the UMass sideline is, they bring Isaiah Rogers off the corner. So they thought this was going to be a play that was going to go to the left. You saw the Zergiotis ball fake left. He hands it off to Mensah to the right. So if they hand it off and run it left, Rogers is there to make the stop. Instead, it goes away from Rogers. He's able to run in between the tackles, and the UConn offensive line right now is just pushing this UMass defense around.
Art Tompkins slipping inside the 20. That's a gain of 4 yards. As UConn has now rushed in this first half alone for about 160 yards.
Yeah, and that's demoralizing to a defense because it feels like they're just taking it to you. It's the old bully in the schoolyard mentality. And to me, this is what Randy Edsall wants his offensive football team to be. A quarterback that can make some plays, will make the right throws, like the underneath connection to Jay Rose, but really be big, be physical, and run the ball.
Time in the pocket for Zergiotis, and Rogers jumped the route and almost had a pick 6. He could see the end zone in his front vision. Man, Isaiah Rogers had a shot at this one.
And Zergiotis looking there the whole time. That is not a very good throw. And normally, Isaiah Rogers is picking that thing, and he is high-stepping it to the house. A rare drop from Isaiah Rogers, but he's going to get his hands on footballs, and when he does, you can see a school record 3 pick 6s for him in his UMass career.
UConn empties the backfield here and goes 5 wide on 3rd and 6. Zergiotis right over the middle. He's got Ross. 1st and goal to the 5. That's just like time to set up, on a lawn chair and maneuver and pick any wide receiver you want.
Yeah, you're rushing 3, so he really was not hurried in the pocket whatsoever. Look at the offensive line. Look at this wall right here. Zergiota's able to see the field. He gets it out early. Again, you're spreading it out with 5 wide, even though there is a tight end in there. A plethora of options for the young quarterback.
All 3 touchdowns have come on the ground thus far. Mensah right up the middle. He's got the first half hat trick. Kevin Mensah, another Husky rushing touchdown.
UMass is going to have to figure out how to be more stout in between the tackles, because right now, not only is the UConn offensive line doing the job and putting it on this UMass defensive line, Kevin Mensah with a head of steam is very difficult to tackle, especially inside that 5-yard line.
Mensah with 118 rushing yards and 3 first-half scores. Harris adds point number 28.
Once again, the UConn offensive line, the tight end Jay Rose with a kick-out block. Kevin Mensah up the middle, rumbling into the end zone for a touchdown. See if the Minutemen can bounce back.
That's the far side here at McGurk Alumni Stadium. A lot of the folks seem to have made their way up from stores in the Hartford, Connecticut area, cheering on the Huskies, who have a 2-score lead. You know, UConn football has not won a game against an FBS opponent in over 2 years. 22 consecutive losses since October of 2017. They've got a chance to snap that dubious streak here today. So you got the visiting fans, and on the near side, which you don't see as well from our camera angle, we got the stands packed with UMass Minutemen faithful. Mason Donaldson, short kick. And this is the up man, Kyle Horn, on the return. Big tight end rumbles to the 27.
Sure, he thought Isaiah Rogers bump up against the old booty there. And it was like, hey, I can run up and make this one. But Kyle Horn with the smart play gives UMass some pretty decent field position here. Again, you get more than where the spot would be on a fair catch or a touchback. He'll take that, especially when it's in the hands of a tight end. And now Andrew Brito's got to get back to work.
Brito is somewhat of a surprise starting quarterback today. Hands it off to Ali. Again, a 5 on first down. Brito had been out the previous 3 games. Started a couple early. He's a junior college player from the College of the Kenyans in California.
Almost. They just had that middle linebacker blocked. Ali would have been able to get more than 5. Look at Bilal Ali push to even get a yard here on second down. Tough running from both of these starting running backs, Josh. Bilal Ali on the UMass side and Kevin Mensah for UConn. Both running backs have really been able to take care of the football, get some good forward lean, push some people around a little bit. But now if you're UMass, this is a critical third down.
Yeah, you almost feel like you can't really have a 3-and-out the way UConn's offense has been moving the ball at will. Short pass to Dingle. Flag is down. Dingle is going to get the first down. There are 2 penalty flags back in the backfield near where Brito threw the football.
I think we're going to get a roughing the passer after that ball came out of Brito's hand.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 48, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Tack on the 15 to the end of it, and that's a big conversion for the Minutemen. Kevon Jones, who is one of the best on the line for Connecticut, hit Brito a little bit too late.
Top left corner of the screen. Boom, there's the... Whoa, it was the hit from behind. Wow. I thought it was the first defender, and Jones just unnecessarily hits Brito from behind there. As you see Ali on a good first down run. And I'll tell you what adds to that as well, Josh, is that Jones is 6'2", 252 pounds. Brito listed 5'8", 170. It looked like a big guy just beating up on a little guy.
Brito, a deep shot for Dingle. It's an incomplete pass. I think they probably could have called Brennan Dingle for offensive pass interference had they so chosen.
And Dingle just stumbled there and lost his feet. Now, to me, I like that play on second down because you get 5 on first down. You're in 2nd and 5. Take your deep shot knowing that your third down is still going to be relatively convertible.
Now it's UMass with an empty backfield. From the 41 of the Huskies. They go back left sideline, and it's broken up. Miles Bell, the freshman corner. Boy, just got his hand in there to break it free from Zach Simon.
And I think UMass is going to stay on the field here, especially after that last Georgopoulos punt. But down the field once again, boy, what a great job of knocking that football out there by Miles Bell. Would have been a catch. And considering Georgopoulos didn't exactly hit a great punt the first time out, UMass can go for it here on 4th and 5.
Their first 4th down attempt of the ball game. UConn brings pressure, and that is short. Boy, Johnson coming across the field had a chance, but Brito couldn't get the ball to OC.
And I know there was pressure up the middle, and it forced Andrew Brito off the spot. But he's got to find a way to make that throw. OC Johnson is open. One-on-one coverage right there. Boy, Brito just could have found a way to make a connection. OC had the ability to run away from Abiola Olanian. And I wonder if he's getting coached up there a little bit in terms of keeping his head, because Brito was really hard on himself, very animated after that incompletion.
UConn has scored consecutive touchdowns after this game was tied early in the quarter. Now looking for 3 in a row. This time UMass able to stack up Mensa.
Well, if you're UConn here, until UMass ends up stopping your ability to run the ball, there's no reason to stop running the ball. If you're the UConn Huskies, your offensive line has done a good job so far. However, if you're UMass, you got to be careful to be too much man-to-man coverage. You got young safeties in there. You got to make sure that in playing the run, your safeties don't lose that eye discipline, and the next thing you know, it's a ball down the sideline for a big chunker.
Off the play fake, Zergiotis with all day to throw, and a deep shot for Ross in stride for the touchdown. Cam Ross. 59 yards, and Connecticut with 3 unanswered touchdowns.
There's exactly what I'm talking about right there, and the lack of UMass pass rush is now showing up in a big way. Just a ton of time for the young freshman Jack Zergiotis to get the ball down the field to Cameron Ross. And the speed of Ross is a problem for this UMass defense here today.
57 yards officially. That's the first touchdown of the 5 that has come through the air. Harris with his 5th PAT in as many attempts. UMass scored on the first play of this quarter, Gresh, and we were tied at 14. 3 UConn scores later. It's a 21-point game.
Look how much time Zergiotis has to let Cameron Ross run open, and then he's able to extend away from Xavier Steele, who's got him in coverage. Take a look right here. Boy, what a nice job. Great job by that UConn offensive line to set in the pocket. And look at this. Mention the acceleration. There you go. Xavier Steele is not going to catch Cameron Ross. 2 plays, 59 yards. And again, it's that whole catch-22. Like, part of the reason I mentioned about UMass, hey, you want to load up to stop the run, but too much man-to-man, you might get beat on the outside. And of course, the very next play, a little bit of play action, Zergiotis able to press the field. And this Cameron Ross, very impressive freshman wide receiver.
Well, we talked to Coach Edsel this week, and Ross was one of the guys he pointed out as the cornerstone for what he's trying to build here. Just a freshman, already 5 catches, now 99 yards here in the first half. Rogers, for a rare time, elected not to field a kickoff. He let it bounce behind him for the touchback, and now with some pushing and shoving, penalty flags come out.
I don't know how they're going to rule this, because number 38, Tanner Davis for UMass, looked like he kind of extended the block there on the sideline. I don't know if this is going to be offsetting, but I think there's a pretty good chance this is going to go against the Minutemen here.
After the play, personal foul, number 38, the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal line from the 25-yard line. 1st and 10.
Edwin Lee, our white hat, announces the penalty against Tanner Davis, and Walt Bell is talking to him about it. Tanner Davis is a walk-on who's had to be pressed into action as a safety.
Bottom of the screen, right side right there, you could see Tanner Davis run over the UConn player. The officials do a good job of trying to jump right in. You can see the side judge was all over it, and these are the kind of mistakes. The turnovers are one thing. That's just a needlessly aggressive mistake right there from Tanner Davis.
First carry of the day for Cam Roberson. The backup to Bilal Ali as UMass keeps it on the ground, and they need, Gresh, if nothing else. You love points, but you need to keep your defense off the field and give them a bit of a rest.
And they need some field position here as well, because if it turns into another 3 and out, UConn's going to get the ball around midfield.
O.C. Johnson gets the first down out to the 23-yard line, and just enough to move the chains.
Boy, 2 young wide receivers who have the ability to make some plays. O.C. Johnson for UMass, Cameron Ross for UConn. These are 2 of the bright stars of college football that are just in their infancy.
Brito pumps, throws. Dangerous pass intended for the sophomore out of Canada, Samuel Emelis. You know, UConn's defense today is without some key members. Playing without linebacker Ryan Gilmartin, safety Diamond Harrell, cornerback Taj Herring-Wilson. All 3 of those have been starters pretty much all year. And to Roberson. Nice shift in direction, and Cam Roberson, a big run of 20. And a first down for UMass.
Well, nice job by the offensive line, but a great read and good vision from Cam Roberson to break it back out the back door.
Brito keeps the football on the zone read, and Andrew Brito gains 5 yards.
Now that's going to help open up that inside running game a little bit. You're forcing UConn now to at least have to pay attention to the QB in the run game, as they are running some pace here. UConn trying to get some defensive players on the field. You can see play being held up while UConn gets in some substitutes on the D-line.
Rule in college football, if the offense substitutes, the defense has to be allowed. Kyle Horn lunges to the marker and gets the 5-yard first down reception. Third catch for Horn.
Now we got trips to the right side here. Watch for a rub route, maybe an easy throw underneath for Brito.
Instead, he'll keep it. Designed run going nowhere. Brito hit at the line of scrimmage and dropped.
Yeah, so close there. I was reading, okay, maybe a little rub. Here comes something over the middle, and instead, it's Brito on the quarterback draw. And again, changing that eye discipline, making sure that the UConn defenders have to pay attention to the quarterback. Unfortunately, just nowhere for Brito to go.
You can see Jonathan Pace make that tackle for the Huskies.
And now trying to slow it down here a little bit, make the right call, let everybody catch their breath, and try to execute on second down.
On the play action, a deep shot down the middle for Brennan Dingle. What a play to break it up. It was the safety, Tyler Coyle. Otherwise, UMass would have had 6.
This is Tyler Coyle's 29th career start, and we've talked about in the secondary for UMass, the youth on the back end. Coyle does a great job of playing this ball. Almost turns into an interception, but let's go back to the first quarter. UConn was really picking on the young corner Josh Wallace. UMass, when they can, picking on the young corner number 17, O'Neal Robinson.
Third down and timeout taken by Randy Edsall.
30 seconds in length.
As Brito limps over towards his sideline. 3 minutes to go here before halftime. UMass trying to break up that string of 3 consecutive UConn scores. Well, coming up at halftime, we've got a very special guest to join us here in the booth. He's the director of athletics at UMass, Ryan Bamford. We'll talk about this football season and the rivalry with the Huskies. A lot to talk about with Ryan these days. He'll join us here in the booth.
Well, it's just a short ride down the road to UConn, and you're going to have 2 state schools next year that are both going to be independent. You can see in the background there Dave Benedict and Ryan Bamford on the UConn sideline standing there chit-chatting away as Randy Edsall just kind of waiting out this time out here.
Ryan Bamford was the one behind Coach Edsall with the cool plaid sport coat.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's the way it really goes, right? You know, Bammer wants to look good, got the jackets and stuff, and I know Dave Benedict to UConn as well, but hey, see, here's what it is. Benedict does about 250 push-ups a day, right? So every once in a while he wants to show off that upper body, so he'll dress like a coach. I saw him earlier. You know, he pecs rolling and stuff. I'm not saying the Bammer's out of shape, don't get me wrong. They're just built a little differently.
I'm going to tell him you said that when he comes up to the booth.
Oh, believe me, it's going to get back to Dave.
Brito nowhere to go on third down. Penalty flag flies. The pass was just thrown into the near side bench. But what did the head linesman see that made him throw his hanky? Remember, this was on a third down play.
Personal foul, face mask, number 48, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That is the second personal foul against Kevon Jones here in this second quarter.
Take a look right here in the end. Well, they ended up getting the wrong player. It looked like 97 Jonathan Pace, I think it was, who ended up grabbing the face mask. But the bottom line is a critical penalty from this UConn defense.
Instead of fourth down, UMass gets the automatic first, and Bilal Ali almost breaks one. You know what was interesting about that call? Normally, when you see a face mask against a quarterback, it's the referee who throws the flag. But it was the head linesman, which is about 10 yards away from the play, who was the one who decided it was a penalty.
And I think because the quarterback had turned his shoulders and tried to move out of the pocket, it was an easier call for him, given the way the quarterback was turned.
Time in the pocket for Brito. A bullet down the middle and dropped. At the 2-yard line, Sam Emelis had it in his paws.
Yeah, that was the right read for Brito, but a really tough throw. He's trying to squeeze it in defenders. See how there's a bracket above and you know what I mean, over top and underneath. So he only had a small window to fit it in there. That's a tough throw. He gave Emelis a chance to catch it, but just couldn't haul it in.
Brito is now 10 for 18 passing. Third down and 2. And Ali pushes the pile and moves the chains right to the edge of the red zone. You can see Rob King, the third in there. He is in at safety in place of the injured Diamond Harrell. UConn's defense will get back its big tackle Travis Jones in the second half. Ali twisted at the 15-yard line as we're about to go under 2 minutes to go in the half. Travis Jones can't play in the first 30 minutes today, Gresh, because he was ejected for targeting last week.
And I got to tell you, Randy Edsall had a lot to say about that after the game and after they watched the video. I saw it too. I completely agree with him. You know, it was incidental. There was no real contact there. But as he said, the rule is the rule. And as some famous football coach says, it is what it is. So you live with it. And well, I'm sure we'll see Travis Jones here in the second half.
This has been the longest drive as far as time of possession for UMass here in the first half. They go now under a minute and a half. And third down after a couple of runs by Bilal Ali. A touchdown would be massive going into halftime. Brito taking a shot. Emelis, the adjustment and the catch. Touchdown, UMass. A big-time score indeed for the home team.
This is just a guy making a play because the coverage from UConn's Jeremy Lucian, number 21, was pretty doggone good. This is just a great pick from Sam Emilus. Go make an individual play when the ball's thrown your way. That's what Emilus does on a good throw from Andrew Brito. 14 yards. And what a payoff for this UMass offense. One of their longer drives of the year.
They're going to review just to make sure that Emilus had possession and a foot in bounds in the corner of that end zone. Timeout as referee Edwin Lee goes over to the headset. And we'll see what you think.
Catch in.
Ooh. Which foot hit first?
I thought the right foot hit first, but let's check it out.
Well, we know he thought he had a touchdown.
Yeah, he thought he ended up getting it in the end zone. Confirmed.
Yep.
Right foot went down first. That's a great effort by Sam Emilus on good coverage as well from Lucian. Great throw by Brito.
And remember, just a couple of plays earlier, Emilus dropped the ball. They go right back to him on third down. Well, Samuel Emilus out of Montreal. Big time play. And now Cooper Garcia for the PAT. Well, 14-point game. Still 64 seconds remaining in the half. And Connecticut has a couple of timeouts to work with.
Given what we saw in the first 7 or 8 minutes of today's game, this thing is not over by a long shot. We've seen turnovers, we've seen block kicks, we've seen big returns, big pass plays. This has been a heck of a fun game to watch here in the first half. It hasn't been the cleanest for UMass, but that's a big response, down 35-14, and you end up having the penalty that pushes you back 12 yards, 12-plus yards, in terms of the old half the distance to the goal line, and Andrew Brito able to lead this UMass defense down the field where they needed to get to put another 7 on the board. Remember, UConn's going to get the ball to start the second half. So the UMass defense needs a big hold here with 1:04 to go.
That was a 14-play drive that took over 4.5 minutes off the clock, so it was doubly important, right? You get the score, you get the response that you talked about, and you also gave your defense a rest.
Absolutely, and they needed to give the defense a blow here to rear up for this final minute of the first half. And you mentioned the timeouts. UMass is sitting there with 3, so if you're UConn and thinking, all right, we'll just take a knee maybe and go in, UMass has the ability to change that. So UConn's are going to have to run a play or two here offensively.
Remember, Art Tompkins already had a 48-yard kick return earlier. This time UMass keeps it away from him, and Quavon Skanes hit hard shy of the 25-yard line by O.C. Johnson. There's an injured player on the field. There's Skanes, who is also the punt returner. He took a hard hit.
Yeah, I remember when Bob Diaco recruited Quavon Skanes, and he was so excited to get such an athlete, I do believe, out of the Chicago area. Really just a punt returner, kind of the Isaiah Rodgers of this UConn football team. Trying to see who is down on the field. I thought it was the tight end there, Jay Rose. Dinged up along the UMass sideline.
There's Rose, an experienced tight end for UConn who was blocking on that special teams play. He's a junior out of Southington. They already have had their number 1 tight end, Donovan Williams, miss 5 straight games coming into this week. All right, 58 seconds. This is a UConn team, Gresh, that has already picked up over 300 yards of offense this half. So I would imagine that Coach Etzel's thinking, let's go get some more points.
Yeah, I think the first down, I think whatever they do here on first down will probably determine the way they're going to handle the rest of this drive. They get a big chunk here. Maybe they press on the accelerator.
Tompkins hit from behind on the draw by Chinadu Agbana. That's a tackle for loss. Agbana, a guy who was one of the leading tacklers last season for UMass, was quiet early under the new defense of Azar Abdur-Rahim. But Andy, in the last few weeks before the bye, Agbana was really coming on. 4 tackles for loss the last 3 games.
Yeah, and so it's his 5th on the year. He's got a sack. He's got an interception. Agbana's a guy that you can move sort of all over the chessboard and get some production from.
Into the belly of Art Tompkins, and the little running back is brought down by Martin Mangrum. And if nobody wants to call a timeout, these teams will just head on into the locker room. So it was an eventful 30 minutes, and they are now in the books. It started off with 4 turnovers in about the first 8 minutes, and then touchdowns aplenty. UConn leads by 14. There's Walt Bell. Brandon London's going to catch up with him in just a moment. Don't forget, later we're going to hear from UMass Director of Athletics, Ryan Bamford. All right, let's go down to Brandon.
Hey guys, I have Coach Walt Bell here. Coach, Andrew Brito has been out for the last 3 games, kind of turned the ball over on that first possession, settled in, now he's making some plays for this offense. How do you feel about his play so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's been okay. There's been some error there, but you know, the turnover on the first drive, poor snap, you know, we got to fall on it. You know, we got to make the smart play, not scramble forward, just punt the football. But no, he's played well.
Defensively, how do you slow down or stop this UConn rushing offense?
That's been a challenge for us all year, and you know, from a personnel standpoint, it's going to continue to be a challenge. But we've got enough guys in there. I can promise you that. We've got everybody and their brother up there. No, we got to get off blocks. We got to tackle.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck next half.
Thanks to Coach Bell for his time. Well, Isaiah Rogers was all over the action early in this one.
Yeah, he had the block kick that took some points off the board, and then the interception. Jack Zergiotis threw it right to Isaiah Rogers, but you could see this UMass defense. There's a good job of slowing down Kevin Mensah right there. A heck of a pitch and catch to O.C. Johnson. There's Bilal Ali punching it into the end zone as well. And we got a game here in Amherst, 35-21 at the half. We'll talk to Ryan Bamford next.
It'll be UConn getting the football to start the second half. Sun setting on homecoming at McGurk Alumni. The Huskies leading by 14. They led by 21 late in that second quarter. Along with Andy Grash, I'm Josh Nauer. Brandon London is on the sidelines for us. We'll check in with Brandon in just a moment. Grash, it'll be UConn first. What adjustments would you have made if you were both Randy Etzel and Walt Bell?
Well, if I'm UConn offensively, I'm going to try to find a way to get one-on-one matchups on the outside off the running game to be able to continue to keep this UMass defense loose and not loading up against the run. And then on the other side of the ball, I've got to find a way to get a more consistent running game. UMass is going to have to make big plays and play action offensively. But look, if they don't stop the run, they're not going to win this game.
Let's check in with Brandon London, who's got some thoughts as we start the third quarter.
Yeah, I hear you guys talking about how if UMass defense doesn't stop the run, they don't have a shot in this game. I mean, if you think about it, Kevin Mensah, I said he needed to take a load off of the UConn offense, the passing offense, and you see with the 4 touchdowns what he was able to do. Opened up a touchdown late in that second quarter. So hopefully this UMass defense can get himself an early stop.
This is Art Tompkins coming to his right, now cuts back left, and shy of the 25-yard line is dropped to the ground. Michael Neesmith, the special teams tackle for UMass, and we saw a ton of Mensah, 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I thought Zergiotis did a pretty good job when they asked him to throw the football.
Yeah, Zergiotis has had a lot of time in the pocket, too. And really the story of the first half for this UConn offense, for me, Josh, is the way their offensive line has played. They've kept Zergiotis clean. They've leaned on the UMass defensive front. You heard Walt Bell with Brandon London at halftime saying, hey, we got the bodies up there. We just got to do a better job of slowing down that run.
From the 23-yard line, right back to Mensah. And that's some of the best push from the defensive front four of UMass that we've seen today. It's only a gain of 3.
But with a 35-21 lead, you also be mindful of the clock. And I know we just started the second half, and you still need to keep playing to put points up on the board. But if UConn can come out and have a sustained drive where they work it for 6-7 minutes, even if it ends up in the field goal or with a field goal, given that they're up 2 touchdowns, that's not the worst development for the Huskies.
Second down and 6. Zergiotis going to the air. It's a deep shot right sideline. Overthrown, intended for Elijah Jeffries.
You know, and I don't think I'm wrong on this. I think that's the first time they really tested Isaiah Rodgers deep. Because remember, there was the one throw in the first half that hit Rodgers in the hands that we thought, gee, that one could have been a pick 6. I think that's the first time where they've really stretched the field in trying to throw it down the side, where Isaiah Rodgers is defending step for step with the wide receiver. You throw it in the area of Isaiah Rodgers, normally that ball's just going to right into his hands.
Connecticut 3 out of 5 on third down conversions in the opening half. They need 6. Zergiotis extends the play, and the pass is deflected. Jake Bisco, the junior defensive lineman, will force a punt.
And that's a great play by Jake Bisco, but really it's on Jack Zergiotis. There was a little bit of pressure in the pocket, and he got moved off the spot. If he had stayed still in the pocket, see right here? See how he turns his shoulders towards the line of scrimmage? If he had reset himself, they had a return route on the backside that was wide open, and they would have been able to convert. So good pressure by the UMass defense, taking advantage and making a young quarterback nervous in there.
This is the first punt of the day for Connecticut. Luke Magliozzi, the Australian. Flag is in. Isaiah Rodgers calls fair catch. Dances out of the way of traffic, holds on at the 34-yard line, and now we'll check the penalty. I think UMass went off sides. Now, it's not a first down if that's the case, because it was 4th and 6, as you can see on your screen.
But what it might do, the ball spotted at the 34-yard line right now. If UMass is off sides and they kick this over again, the real penalty yardage comes from where the ball would have been spotted on this punt versus where the ball will be spotted on the next punt.
Referee today is Edwin Lee.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
You know, you could also go for it if you're Randy Edsall and you really wanted to roll the dice. It is 4th and 1.
That is really not the Randy Edsall way, and you can see, and it's a penalty where you're lined up right over the center. Couldn't get the exact look on the number there. And bottom line is, you're looking at the ball.
They would call that an unforced error.
Correct, in tennis.
Magliozzi punting again, and this one a much higher, deeper spiral. Rodgers without a fair catch, giving ground, and to your point, Andy Gresh, UMass lost about 20 yards in field position after the penalty.
They're going to mark it at the 15-yard line, so from the 33 to the 15, so really an 18-yard penalty. Actually, the 34 to the 15, so it would have been a 19-yard penalty. Help me out on that. You get a better degree than I do.
As the old joke goes, it was my understanding there would be no math. Here comes the UMass offense, and there's Andrew Brito. 10 of 17 in the first half through the air, 142 yards and a touchdown. And a quick out and a completion to start it. It's only a gain of 3 to Sadiq Palmer. Senior makes his first catch of the afternoon.
Yeah, it's good visiting with Ryan Bamford at halftime. It's the first time we've had a chance to talk to him this year, and There's a lot going on with this program.
And a big run, Bilal Ali into the clear, and Ali down near the UConn 20-yard line.
Boy, did the Minutemen need that.
The junior out of Florida busts a big one for UMass.
Great job on the zone read right up the middle. Look at the offensive line doing a great job of creating a crease, and then Bilal Ali just running away from players. Miles Bell hawks him from the side playing corner. What a big chunker for the UMass run game.
63 yards right back to him. And Ali down near the 15. It'll be a gain of about 4 for Bilal Ali. Well, we talked to Walt Bell earlier this week, and he told us that he's really started to look at Bilal Ali as the most important player, really the leader of his offense. And he shows us why.
No, and rightfully so, because he can make explosive plays.
Palmer on a slant. Sadiq Palmer. First and goal, UMass down to the 7-yard line. His second catch on the drive.
Really nice job there, and a very good play call by Walt Bell and his offensive staff, giving Andrew Brito an inside slant route. Easy throw for him to be able to get the first down. I'm going right back to Ali here, given the way this defense is spaced.
Goal-to-goal situation, and it is Ali. Look at him push. Ali still driving towards the goal line, and he's down at the 1.
Boy, and the umpire was right there to keep an eye on that. Good job not only by Bilal Ali, but the guts of that offensive line. Dalton Tomlinson at center, Hilbert Fagundes, number 68. Look at him just get that push. That's a great job by the offensive line. Hey, look, there wasn't great blocking in there. But you know what happened? Bilal Ali got the head of steam, and the O-lineman just said, well, I didn't block anybody. Let me just try to push him home.
They try him again. Ali is in for the touchdown, UMass. His second of the day, and he earned it on that drive, didn't he? We've got a one-score game early in the third quarter.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered for this UMass football team. They get a stop defensively. They overcome a penalty, which, by the way, put him, as you mentioned, almost 20 yards back further than what where the punt originally would have been spotted, and they still drive the ball 85 yards for a touchdown.
2 scores today for Ali, and now 6 on the season. Cooper Garcia makes it a 7-point game. Well, Gresh, it took him only 6 plays to go those 85 yards, and this was the one that set it up.
Bilal Ali in a flash, running through this UConn defense for the big run that got them down around the red area, and then more push from the offensive line and push from Bilal Ali to get back in the end zone. It's a 7-point game, and the rivalry renewed in Amherst.
Couple of scores in the first 100-yard rushing game of the season for the redshirt junior out of Jacksonville, Bilal Ali, and here come the Minutemen, Andy Gresh. They scored right before halftime, and they scored right after it to get back within 7.
Yep, a big stop on defense, a big play from Bilal Ali, and the next thing you know, we got ourselves a much tighter ball game. And you know, it's interesting, if you think back to the game that UMass won earlier this year against Akron, there was a big swing like that. Got a defensive stop, made a big play offensively, put it in the end zone. UMass with a little momentum here. We've seen them capitalize on it before. See if they do it again today.
Cooper Garcia's kickoff coming to Quavon Skanes, who took a fair catch, which means these days in college football, you can bring it out to the 25-yard line. But what a game of momentum swings. If you're just joining us, UMass turned the football over 3 times in about the first 7.5 minutes of the first quarter. They fell behind 7-0, but could have been a lot worse. They ended up tying it 14-14 on the first play of quarter number 2. Then UConn scored 21 unanswered points. This was a 35-14 game not all that long ago. Minutemen got a touchdown pass to Samuel Emelis before halftime, and the last run from Bilal Ali. From the 25, and Zergiotis finds Tompkins out of the backfield.
Well, in that two-back set from UConn right there with both Tompkins and Mensah in the game, it kind of compromises UMass a little bit because you almost have to treat it like a 5 wide receiver set, having 2 backs in there. There was no tight end in, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, kind of spreading them out a little bit, seeing how UMass was going to react. I'm going to bet you dollars to donuts UConn's going to go back to that formation in a big spot later in the game.
Right now, Tompkins is off the field, and the only back is Mensah, who's got the football for a first down. Very nearly more, but Cole McCoubry held on to him to make the tackle.
Yeah, good tackle there by McCoubry, as you mentioned, and I thought Mensah was going to kind of bounce that to the outside, and McCoubry, an ascending player within this UMass defense, but watch Mensah right here. See, if he'd gone outside, I thought he was going to try to use the DeGeorge block and try to slide in between the 2 offensive linemen to give himself a natural seal from McCoubry coming over the top to make the play.
Mensah's got it again. Good tackle by Adbana after a gain of 4. How about this? Kevin Mensah now 132 rushing yards and 3 scores. Bilal Ali 126 and a pair of touchdowns. It is pretty much the Ali versus Mensah show here this afternoon.
Yeah, and those guys have played great, and we'll see if there's a defensive player along the way here who will be able to make a big play along the way. 2nd and 6 tight end back in the ball game. They stick with Art Tompkins, the 5'8" grad student in there at running back for UConn. UMass loading up the box.
On a pitch, this is Ross, the wide receiver. Cam Ross with a first down and more. All the way to the UMass 45-yard line goes the freshman.
You know, I mentioned Art Tompkins, the graduate transfer. Watch the block he gets out of the backfield, right? It isn't big, but he just gets enough of Tyrus LeBeau to make him lose his footing so that Ross can hit it right up in there on that jet sweep. That's a good job by the running back. It goes to show that every block doesn't need to be an old Aunt Jemima pancake block. Just get in someone's way and let the ball carrier do the rest.
You're going to make me hungry here in the 3rd quarter. Tompkins now has the football. Van Rinden to Tyrus LeBeau. By the way, Cam Ross now with 6 receptions, 112 yards, but 3 of those 6 have been that little pitch on a jet sweep.
Yeah, and the jet sweep has now really come back in college football because if you're going to play man coverage, you either got to have a corner that's going to run all the way across the field, or you're going to force the defense to try to react to it. And by the time you do, you've got a running back that's a lead blocker, and you've got a guy in full sprint getting the football ready to beat people to the edge.
Right back to Tompkins. Right through the middle goes the scat back. And Art Tompkins is out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
Now, once again, up the middle, a problem for the UMass defense. And this time it's Art Tompkins who does a good job of staying patient in the hole. Watch him wait, see you later. He's going to cut off the rear end of one of his offensive linemen and then off to the races. Tried to get to the end zone but couldn't. But another big chunk running play from this UConn offense.
Tompkins, a good complimentary back to Kevin Mensah in his graduate student year at UConn. 1st and 10 from the 15. That's a lateral and a pass to the end zone for the touchdown to Jay Rose. The pass was thrown by Quavon Skanes, a wide receiver TD pass.
You could tell something was amiss from where we're at our broadcast location on the 50-yard line. When Skanes went in motion, he set up a little further behind than he normally would be, as if he were going to motion to that side and line up off the line of scrimmage. And Skanes, just a great throw there and a good route by Jay Rose for the touchdown. How about that? In a game in which they're running it, UConn with a little trickeration.
Clayton Harris adds the PAT. Trickeration indeed. Boy, this was so well set up. Remember, that man Jay Rose limped off the field late in the first half, Andy.
See how far back Skanes is? You could tell by alignment that something was up. Watch how this ball goes backwards, right? Natural blocking set up. Touchdown throw by Skanes. 42-28 mid-third quarter. We got two teams that are running the football here today at McGurk Stadium. Bilal Ali into the end zone. So far, both teams have run for 357 yards. Bilal Ali into the end zone a couple of times. Kevin Mensah, good job on the bounce on the outside. That got UConn on the board early. And now tough running here from Mensah and getting it in the end zone. Both Mensah, Art Tompkins, Bilal Ali, these guys have not only ran tough around the goal line, they've made big plays in the running game, and they ain't done running by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, the way we're going, we could end up with 500-plus yards combined rushing.
You ain't kidding. Isaiah Rogers with a shot at this one from the 1-yard line and ahead of steam. Spin move, Rogers, 25, met and dropped. To further the point on how well these ground games have performed, UConn is averaging 8.5 yards per carry, UMass 6.5. That means every time you hand the football off, you're getting close to a first down.
You know, last week, UConn ran the ball for 168 yards against Houston. So just to show that, yes, they want to run it, their success has been up and down this year. But look at that. I mean, that is really just pounding the rock in terms of yards per play.
Right back to Ali, patiently waited. Was hoping the center, Tomlinson, would give him a block that never really developed.
And you know, it's interesting when you're the pulling guard or the center and you're running that outside zone, the one thing you're taught as a pulling inside player is to look inside, because that's where your most dangerous defenders are arguably going to come from. If you have to kick somebody out, they're right in front of you. Otherwise, you better be looking inside, because that's where the defense is going to be coming from.
Well, that was a dangerous pass for Melvin Hill. It was almost a pick six for Keyshawn Paul. Let's go to Brandon, who has more on this UConn defense against the UMass run game.
Yeah, guys, if you think about it, if I'm the UMass offense, the only way to stop their run game is the UConn offense, and I'll tell you why. If they continue to score, you take away the ground aspect of Bilal Ali in the UMass rush game.
They have to go to the air on 3rd and long, and that is going to draw a penalty flag. Keyshawn Paul locked up with Melvin Hill, and this time it's going to be pass interference on the defense.
It's a clear PI, but that was not a great throw there from Andrew Brito.
Holding, number 24, defense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
PI holding, all the same to me, it turns into a first down. Maybe that's part of the reason why I might have said that. Yeah, that'd be.
I mean, that looked like pass interference to me.
It did, but it also looked like the ball was sailing overhead, and I'm not saying that that's a part of the play in terms of the way it was refereed and adjudicated there. Just to note that Brito didn't exactly put it on the wide receiver.
It's interesting, back-to-back passes intended for Melvin Hill, who has been seldom used in his time in Amherst. Just 5 total receptions this year, but he was the one who drew the hold to extend the drive. Now it's Cam Roberson giving Ali a breather. Runs up the gut for a couple. Junior college player. He is the 2nd running back.
And here comes UMass trying to step on the accelerator offensively a little bit.
UMass has a new right tackle in the game. Brian Abbasi is out. Wade is in, and Roberson ends up losing yardage. Back to the initial line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10.
And when you look at 3rd down offensively this year for UMass, Josh, 37% on 3rd down offensively. But this is really 3rd and 10 is trouble for anybody. But 3rd and 10 for this UMass offense has been very problematic this year.
Brito spins left, looks downfield, fires incomplete. Kyle Horn had it knocked away beautifully. And a punt coming up. That was Tyler Coyle, the safety.
I like the way Andrew Brito just handled that play right there. Flushed out of the pocket, resets his feet. Unfortunately, it's incomplete to Kyle Horn, but he did a good job of making sure that his mechanics would be right before he throws that football down the field. Runs right over and talks to head coach / offensive coordinator Walt Bell. And UMass really needs a big punt here from George Georgopoulos, down 14.
It's only his 2nd of the game, Gresh. The first one went just 21 yards. Low and end over end, and it gets a great UMass hop. Skanes stopped in his tracks right after he picked up the rolling pigskin. I think that'll work out.
Yeah, it wasn't traditional, but you'll take it. Yeah, this whole rugby punting thing is just, don't even get me started on that. I mean, I know I'm going into, man yells at cloud, old man returning soup at a deli moment here, but, we're just going to kick them on the ground and let them roll around all over the place and see what's going to happen, and maybe somebody will fumble the ball or whatnot. Like, we don't use coffin kicks anymore. Again,
hey,
get off my lawn when it comes to punting these days.
How about whatever works, huh? UMass gets UConn backed up to the 21-yard line. Huskies by 14, and Kevin Mensah. Xavier Steele was there to stop that play after a gain of a couple.
You're always the pragmatist, Josh Mauer.
I'll tell you, it was a 39-yard punt and only a 1-yard punt return. Again, Connecticut has rushed for over 200 yards today as a team.
Yeah, and almost had a chance to break it backside right there. A nice job by Xavier Steele in closing up the hole. For UMass, a couple of things you got to start to be aware of. One is the clock. Almost inside 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
Zergiotis keeps the football on that read option. Across the 25, he's going to be about 3 yards shy of the first down. And there is some pushing and shoving away from the play. Players had to be separated, and third down is coming up.
Well, and the other thing UMass needs to be aware of here is stuff like this. Don't get beat by somebody who hasn't done something all day, like Zach Zergiotis, who is just right. Like, where did that zone read come from?
That was the first carry all day for Zergiotis. Big play, 3rd and 3 here with 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Straight handoff to Mensah. Spins out of a tackle, and Kevin Mensah has the first down up to the 45.
I talked about the way Kevin Mensah runs the football. That's a really good example right there of keeping his feet, finding a way to maintain his balance. Look at that spin, and then almost made the tackle. Did Elijah Johnson, but couldn't bring him down, and it turns into a big first down.
Gain of 17, and Mensah is at 147 rushing yards.
Yeah.
And UConn running some more clock. Now Zergiotis sets up a screen. Tompkins into UMass territory. Let's check in with Brandon on the sidelines, who's got some thoughts on Azar Abdur-Rahim, the UMass defensive coordinator.
Yeah, guys, Coach Azar Rahim is usually in the box during the games, but now he's down here on the sideline. He had the whiteboard out talking to the linebackers, talking about gaps and fits. He ended that chat with, let's make a stop. Let's see if this UMass defense can get a stop to get the ball back to the offense.
I'll tell you what I want to see is, I'd love to see a little more movement up front. Whether it's a late shift to the strong side of the formation, maybe some slanting a little bit. I know you can argue.
Pump and go, and that's incomplete.
I know you can argue that you can take yourself out of a play, but right now up the middle, UMass has had issues defending the run. And it's going to have to try to, Coach Abdur-Rahim is going to have to try to find a way to create either some run-through situations, change it up, maybe put a bigger body in there as well to go along with guys like Osagade and Bisco. But they're going to have to make an adjustment here in the fourth quarter, because right now UConn's made too many big plays running between the tackles.
That long pass for Haran Moriso was being defended by Isaiah Rogers, and now it's 3rd down and 5. He can run if he wants. Zergiotis instead goes with a pass, and he's got the first down. Elijah Jeffries moves the chains inside the Minutemen 40-yard line.
This is such a good job by quarterback Jack Zergiotis. He motors down, he stays patient, slows up, waits for the receiver to continue to run the crossing route, You know, Jeffries broke off in a crossing route right away. There was a little bit of trash over the middle of the field. He navigated through it. Zergiotis was able to slow himself down, maintained his ability to throw the football, and Jeffries kept running the route. Great job by the young quarterback.
A gain of 12 on 3rd and 5. And now again, coming on the jet sweep is Ross. Tackled by linebacker Claudin Cherelis. That is the best job that UMass has done defending that play today.
Yeah, it's been a big gainer for UConn, and another good job. Watch number 1, Art Tompkins in the backfield. Look at that kick-out block, just beautiful. So nice that Ross doesn't have to break stride. You get that momentum going on the jet sweep. You're looking for somebody to give you a good block so that you don't have to slow down to work off of it.
These have been consecutive time-consuming drives for the Husky offense. Zergiotis across the middle for another first down. Diving catch was made by Cam Hairston, and it's UConn getting near the red zone.
Chineno Agbana was held on that play. I mean, straight up. Watch him coming up on the backside of Zergiotis here. He almost got there, but it was number 74, Ryan Vandemark, who I thought the officials looking right at it, and then Agbana was going to get the call to no avail, and Zergiotis ends up completing the pass for another first down.
On 1st and 10, it's a hand to Tompkins. Bizco riding him down from behind at about the 17.
Boy, this is the pace that UConn wants to play, right, Josh?
Oh,
Up
yeah.
14. Let's lean on this UMass defense. Let's take our time. Jack Zergiotis has made a couple of really nice throws and just feel plays on this drive that has kept it going. UConn now running that clock down here in McGurk Alumni Stadium.
This drive has now already elapsed more than 5 minutes off of the 3rd quarter clock. Remember, UMass had gotten back within 7 points early in this 3rd. UConn now leading by 14, looking for more. Crossing pattern, Cam Ross the catch. Spins off of 1 tackle and a first down to the 9-yard line for the freshman Ross. On what may very well have been the final play of the quarter.
This is a very savvy route by a young Cameron Ross, just a true freshman. He's working over the middle of the field. And you see the eyes of Zergiotis. He could see how Ross slowed down in front of McCoubry and then started that route once again to create the opening to be able to get that first down.
And the quarter ends. It is UConn by 14 and knocking on the door here in Amherst. Sun setting. It's been a gorgeous homecoming Saturday afternoon in Amherst. We are in the Martin and Richard Jacobs Crescent Skybox Complex. Kresh is trying to wave to you, the audience.
Sure, I'm in pink. You would think you'd be able to see me. Again, I'm not a fashion plate like Ryan Bamford, but nevertheless, I figured a giant guy in pink would stand out.
Well, who is? This is another long drive for Connecticut. They've got 1st and goal at the 9-yard line to begin the 4th.
And here is where Azar Abdul-Rahim may have to take some chances to try to blow this up to keep it to a field goal so that it's manageable to be able to come back in the 4th quarter. And UConn spreading them out with 4 wide, really 3 wide, a tight end and a running back, but an open set.
It's another pitch to Ross, and this time UMass had it red, and Cole McCoubry makes the tackle back at the 14.
None of the interior offensive linemen for UConn were able to get up on McCoubry, and he was on this right away. No one was able to get near him. Watch McCoubry in the middle, so the center can't work up to take out the middle linebacker. No one was able to get their hands on McCoubry in making that play. Now, if I'm UConn, I'm coming with some sort of jet sweep action at some point later on, knowing that McCoubry's going to bail, then try to hit a little play action over the middle.
That was the 5th time Ross has caught a pass that looked pretty much exactly like that. Mensah on the draw. Mensah sneaking through and in for the touchdown, number 4. What a run for the junior. And it's a career day to put UConn back up 3 scores.
Boy, what a great job in the backfield by Kevin Mensah. Have you ever played video games and you have that L1 button that makes the running back go, "Wah," and, do the little sidestep and make people miss. That's what Kevin Mensah just did right there. He hit that old L1 button, bounced it to the outside, and was able to get in the end zone for a touchdown. Very rare that you see a zone read with a little bit of what was counter action from Mensah.
He may have hit the L1, the triangle, and the square button. Clayton Harris matches the largest lead of the game for the visitors at 21.
This is some counter action right here. So you can see they pull the guard across. There comes the tight end Rose. And then Mensah out the backside. Great block by the wide receiver on the outside. And a good job of Kevin Mensah keeping his feet. 49-28 UConn here at McGurk.
Coming into the day, Kevin Mensah of UConn had rushed for 4 touchdowns on the season in 7 games. This afternoon alone, in 3+ quarters, he's rushed for 4 touchdowns. And 161 yards. The last one has made it a 21-point lead, Andy Gresh.
Yeah, he's been a real menace today for this UMass defense. And right when it looked like UMass, they get it to within a touchdown, you're feeling good. What do? They turn around and they keep running the ball to this UConn offense, and Mensah having himself a heck of a day.
The last 2 drives for Connecticut after UMass had gotten within 7. 75 yards in 3.5 minutes, and then 79 yards in almost 7 minutes. And they have taken back control of this game. Rogers hit hard. There's a flag down. UMass is going to be inside the 10-yard line, I think, to start this possession.
I would agree with you. Get a little chippy out there, too. A lot of pushing going on in this second half at the ends of plays.
What do you think about 80-85% of the time on a kick return, the flag is for a blocking infraction?
Yep. Normally it's a block in the back.
Holding, number 17, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal line, 1st and 10.
That's the second penalty that has been a half the distance to the goal line penalty on a return for UMass today.
You know, Andy, each of these teams have had to shuffle quarterbacks throughout the season. Minutemen have started 3 different signal callers. Andrew Brito came back today for the first time in 4 weeks. UConn seems to have found its man in freshman Zach Zergiotis. Bilal Ali starts the drive with a nice run.
Boy, Bilal Ali is fresh in the 4th quarter as he was in the 1st quarter, getting UMass a little bit of real estate. And how about the quarterback carousel, Josh, for both these teams this year? 3 different starters for UMass, 2 different starters for UConn. It leads to up and down quarterback play.
O.C. Johnson gets the first down catch and is run out of bounds near the 25-yard line.
But in terms of the UMass piece of that for a moment, in terms of what's happened here with the Minutemen, in terms of Michael Curtis, Randall West, and Andrew Brito, I can understand why Walt Bell wants Andrew Brito to play a bunch. He's the guy who's going to be here next year. You want to get him all kinds of experience.
Room to run up the middle. Brito, remember the way he got hurt was on a similar run in that Coastal Carolina game. Ended up taking a shot to the helmet.
And, you know, the one thing I appreciate about what UMass has done here is they haven't tried to sell us that he's like 6 feet tall or something. He is legitimately 5'8", but he stands tall in that pocket, and it looks like he really has to put a lot of effort into throwing the ball. But on the whole, pretty accurate. You got to give him room to throw. That's the biggest thing for Andrew Brito, or the ball's got to come out on time quickly, like this.
Unfortunately, a little bit off target.
Right.
Intended for Emilus. It'll be 3rd down. Brito now 17 of 29.
Yeah, 17 of 29 is really not bad. I think the thing that hurts this UMass offense right now is the run game hasn't been consistent enough to be able to make those bigger plays down the field. They've made 1 or 2, but this is the time in the game where you'd love to be able to dial something up, get a one-on-one matchup, and have a chance to get a chunk play.
3rd down and 3 with Ali standing to the right of Brito. Off the play action, nothing is open. Brito then takes a deep shot. Penalty flag comes in. 2 of them, in fact, intended for Emilus.
Well, we got 2 down there, but we've got 1 over near the line of scrimmage here. Randy Edsall's not happy.
Jeremy Lucien was in coverage there on Samuel Emilus about 40 yards down the field.
All right, so this may end up being offsetting because I'm looking at our white hat here. He's calling the officials down the field up to where he is.
There are 2 fouls, both by the defense.
Well,
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, number 43. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, defense, number 17. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Called the defensive pass interference on O'Neal Robinson, who had an interception earlier today. UMass will take that 15-yard foul.
I mean, there's contact there. Well, he impedes Emilus's ability to go after the football and never turned his head around as well.
And they got the number wrong there. It was Jeremy Lucien, 21, not O'Neal Robinson. Brito running for his life. Question is, did he get that back to the line of scrimmage? There is a flag on the field where Brito threw the ball.
Yeah, and I don't think Brito did get it to the line of scrimmage.
I think they roughed him, though, first.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was outside the pocket. He got the ball to the line of scrimmage extended.
Wow. All right, then. We'll just live to play another day. I'm not going to question that. No need to Zapruder the heck out of that one. Let's keep moving.
Well, he had to get the ball to the 46-yard line, and
I did not think he did. But again, I'm not here to quibble.
And there was no roughing either, so just second down. And Cam Roberson loses about 4 yards on that sweep.
Man, that's a crushing play right there to put you in what's going to be third and 13, excuse me.
Watch reserve linebacker Jordan Morrison knife in here.
Yeah, pressure up the middle as well.
3rd down and 13. It's a handoff to Ali with a lot of room in front of him and a first down UMass.
What an awesome play call there by Walt Bell. He spreads them out. They just go with a little inside counter. You have Taylor Edwards, the tight end, the lead blocker, and UConn thinking pass, pass, pass. He hits him with a little run underneath to Bilal Ali for a very big first down. Wow, out of nowhere.
It's a career high in rushing yardage for Bilal Ali after that 16-yard gain. He's up to 151. Brito dancing to his right, throwing it deep. The official had thrown a hat. The ball falls out of bounds, and we play on 2nd and 10.
Boy, Andrew Brito doing a nice job of trying to create some space for himself in the pocket. The problem is the pocket ended up collapsing on him. He had the ability to climb it here early. Watch him stay right on the hash mark. Just climbs up, now starts to feel the pressure, gets out of there, and flings that ball down the field. And now nothing to Bilal Ali to come back. Boy, oh boy. Why does it feel like almost every 3rd down for UMass offensively has been 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 10 or longer?
I'm not sure if you saw the beginning of that play as we came back from replay, but Ali was slipping to the ground as Brito handed him the football. So he had no chance and ended up losing. 3rd down and 12. With an empty backfield, you feel like this is a must convert. And that's not close. Emilus running against Jeremy Lucien again, and the pressure brought Brito down to the turf.
And Lou Spanos, the defensive coordinator, I love those kinds of calls on 3rd down. You know the ball's got to come out quick. Bring the rusher, force the quarterback to have to decide early on where he's going to throw the football and hope he makes a good throw. That's a very timely pressure by the UConn defense.
Down by 21 in the 4th. UMass must go for it on 4th and 12. Another deep ball. Brito down the field and incomplete. It's a turnover on downs. O.C. Johnson could not run underneath it. Then it's looking more and more like UConn is going to have its day here in Amherst.
Pressing the ball down the field. O.C. Johnson, one-on-one coverage. He slows down to try to let that ball drop right into his hands. Incomplete. Can the UMass defense get the football back for their offense? Down 21.
Randy Edsall and the UConn Huskies looking for their second victory of the season. And now they have the football back on offense with only 10:41 to go. You know, for Coach Edsall and this UConn team, it's been a long time since they've won a game against an FBS opponent and won a game away from East Hartford. We'll get into that as we go on. They're getting closer and closer to snapping some ignominious streaks. Zergiotis and the offense back on the field from the 43 with Tompkins standing 2 yards behind him. Tompkins to the outside, and Art Tompkins down around the UMass 15-yard line. Untouched until he got into the open.
There you go. First 10 yards. I don't know if a Minuteman defender even got a hand on him. Let's take a look here. He's just going to run the ball to the left side, and nope. In fact, it was more like 25 yards before the Minutemen ended up getting a hand on Tompkins. Story of the game, UConn's ability to run the ball and run effectively between the tackles.
That run of 42 put Tompkins over 100 yards today, and he's got it again on 1st and 10. Tripped up, but not before he got to about the 7. It'll be 2nd and 1. You know, Art Tompkins, 123 yards. Kevin Mensah, 161. The two UConn running backs have combined for almost 300 yards on the ground.
And again, a little counter action once again. Good job by the offensive line. Tompkins running right off those big rear ends. Plenty of room to be able to run the football for both Tompkins and Mensah today. And the clock is ticking down.
A third straight play, it's Art Tompkins. The Toledo grad transfer sets up a 1st and goal. That puts UConn as a team over 300 yards rushing in the game. This is the thing for UMass that has been the biggest bugaboo all season defensively, stopping opposing running games. 130th in the country out of 130 FBS teams in rushing yardage. And the Huskies have come in today and executed a game plan.
And it's more than just bulk and defensive linemen and strong guys up front. UMass had issues tackling all year long, and that, combined with getting pushed around up front, has been really the big issue today.
Mensah on the draw. Kevin Mensah, 1 for the thumb. His 5th rushing touchdown in Amherst. A day to remember for that Worcester native.
He's made plays in the open field. He's run the ball hard around the goal line. Kevin Mensah pushing for Player of the Week honors with these 5 touchdowns.
I imagine the office in Providence of the American Athletic Conference will be handing him some hardware come Monday.
Pretty good chance, and it ain't over yet. He may add to that or get to 200. There's Kevin Mensah, number 34, right up the middle. Big block by the right tackle, Matt Pert. And UConn running the football with authority today here in Amherst.
This is the second time in this game that Connecticut has scored 21 unanswered points. They lead at 56-28. This is a rebuilding year for first-year head coach Walt Bell and his staff, Andy Gresh. And look at that stat.
Yeah, 7 true freshmen have started, tied for the most in FBS. Some of that is injury. Some of that is just mixing in and getting young players like O.C. Johnson a lot of early playing time. And how about that? 48 different starters in 2019, tied 3rd most in FBS. Again, a little bit of it experimenting in terms of playing young players, and some of it is just the physicality and the injuries you have over the college football season.
Isaiah Rogers took it in at the 5. Somehow still going and made it out to the 25-yard line.
You know, I was talking about this with someone the other day. I wonder if Isaiah Rogers is going to get a next level look as a return guy, because nowadays in the NFL, you're either kicking him out of the back of the end zone, or you've got a guy who's got to have the ability to catch it 4 yards deep and give you something in the return game. He's so explosive as a returner. I just wonder, you know, what people at the next level think of him in terms of the return game. The ball security might be a little bit of an issue, but you can't deny his ability on kick returns.
Bilal Ali, who's had a career day, starts the drive with a gain of 2. Well, what do you think?
Well, I think it might be more of a, you know, I think some teams will definitely take a look at him as a returner, there's no question, but can he do more? Can he help in other ways? And maybe that's where a league like the XFL becomes a possibility for someone like Isaiah, so that he can hone those skills, maybe get a little bit better, find a way to make it on a roster, get better, bulk up a little bit, and then have a chance to maybe move up. But he is such a good returner, and he's got pretty good instincts. You got to think somebody's going to take a shot to at least look at him in one of those roles.
Ali high steps a tackle and gets right to the marker at the 35-yard line to move the chains.
You know, and even when we've talked with Walt Bell before, and it didn't specifically come up this week, but when we've asked him about Isaiah Rogers, he said he's been very impressive in the return game. So if he's impressed Walt Bell, you got to think that somebody is going to at least ask about it.
That ball right through the hands of Brennan Dingle and almost into the waiting arms of Jeremy Lucien, who would have had an interception. 2nd down and 10. About midway through the 4th and final quarter.
And I understand they want to press the field. They're down by 28 points. But give Andrew Brito something underneath to be able to cut this yardage in half.
Instead, Brito is swallowed up, and down he goes. It's a sack. There you see Travis Jones, who was out the first half because of his targeting penalty last week. And
a great look there by Travis Jones, and look at the big man in on Brito. Brito's smart to go down right there.
Not close. 4th down coming up. When you look at Brito returning for the first time in over a month, how would you grade the way that the junior college transfer has performed this afternoon?
Up and down. You know, you heard Walt Bell mention with Brandon London at halftime that, you know, he made some decisions out there. The whole, you know, the throws you like to have back, and he still needs to be coached up. I like what he's done so far. I love his competitiveness. I just think right now, offensively, too many long down and distances on 3rd down for you to be consistent as a quarterback.
There's another rugby-style punt from George Georgopoulos, and a beauty. Any way, shape, or form, Gresh?
What exactly is a beauty of a rugby punt like that?
I believe it was that. UConn has it back. 6:38 to go. For UMass next week, they're back here at home. It's a game against another FBS independent, the Liberty Flames, a new FBS program coming up from Virginia. That'll be a noon kickoff here, the 2nd day of November. How about Liberty today? That's a surprising result. Now, you would generally say that when an independent team goes to a Big Ten school, you wouldn't assume they'd be favored, but Liberty was favored to beat Rutgers today, and they didn't.
Yeah, big-time hire at head coach down there at Liberty, and Hugh Freeze. They, like UMass, they know where they want to get their program to.
That snapped a 5-game winning streak the Flames have been on. We'll have it for you here on Flow Football and Nesson next Saturday. UConn continuing to run the football. They've gone to Dante Black, who's the 3rd running back, and that was only his 4th carry of the entire season. Let's send it down to Brandon London, who has noticed that there's a lot of happy faces and a lot of energy on that UConn sideline. Right, Brandon?
Definitely, and you guys talked about the history of this matchup. Pre-game, there were a couple UConn players jumping up and down on the 50-yard line decal of UMass. Well, I was just on the sideline, and I even heard some of their players saying, let's put 60 on them. So both coaches is talking about keeping this rivalry going. Well, on the energy on the UConn sideline, sounds like they're saying game on.
Zergiotis is still in at quarterback, and Dante Black, another impressive run. The only game he'd ever even had a carry in was a few weeks ago at Tulane. There's a flag on the field, though, with this one back in the backfield. And the teams are already backing up.
I was going to say, I think there's a chance this is going to be on a UMass defender, hands to the throat or face.
Personal foul, hands to the face, 99, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
I believe you had that one.
I saw the left guard. I do believe it was number 70, Cam DeGeorge, who after the play was reacting. There it is right there. You can catch it right at the bottom of your screen where hands get up around the face mask. And what happens a lot of times is, they tell you as a defensive lineman, try to get those hands inside but get that push. And sometimes when you do, your hand can slide off the jersey, or you move the jersey so much that your hand just naturally goes into the face of the offensive lineman. They taught us back in the day to do the old karate chop on the elbow to try to get that arm off you, but tough to do during live game action.
There's another tackle for loss for UMass's Buck linebacker Chinadu Agbana, his second today, as he tripped up Dante Black. The Detroit Lions lost a football game at Lambeau Field a couple of weeks ago, in large because of a couple of hands to the face calls that many thought were phantom.
Yeah, well, if I can get on the old soapbox here, it's easy for Mr. and Mrs. Football America to sit around and watch on television when the game is slowed down frame by frame so they can adjudicate it, not whenever everybody's running around at full speed on the field. So, a part of it is us as fans and analysts who have the ability to watch the game in a different way, where we really come down on these officials. If you ask me personally, we need another set of eyes on the field. You got so many athletes that are so big now, whether it's in the NFL or college football, get another official on the field. You can cut down the amount of space these guys are watching, and maybe instead of relying on technology and slowing the game down, you'd get better calls if you had another official out there. I'm now done. I'm off the soapbox. Thank you. I'm off the podium, and there we go.
I have learned plenty. Third down, Donovan O'Reilly, the fourth running back, had that last carry to make it 3rd and 8. O'Reilly has it again. And there is Jarvis Miller to wrap him up. 4th down and long coming up. We'll see what Randy Edsall elects to do. You heard Brandon talking about the rejuvenation of this old Yankee Conference rivalry. And Gresh, there has not been an announcement yet from either Ryan Bamford or Dave Benedict about an extension of the series. There are 2 more on the schedule. In fact, next year, these teams will open the season against one another in September. That'll be at Rentschler Field. But I think we're all in agreement that as each team moves into independency, it seems like a no-brainer that every year these teams will be on the schedule against one another.
When you got to be mindful about cost and road trips, and UMass defense getting a stop here on 4th down 56-28. But when you think about how easy it is to just drive down or up the road, spend the night in a hotel, play a game, get one against another FBS opponent on your schedule. We were talking to Ryan Bamford before the game as well, and I think that there's 2 things that UMass and UConn can balance. One is being independent, and the other is trying to get this sort of New England football uniformity, right? Maybe there's games against Boston College, UMass and UConn and BC. It cuts down on a little bit of travel. It makes it easy to be able to schedule those opponents early enough And then maybe for UMass, maybe they have the ability at some point to play some of those older Big East teams, or at least what used to be Big East teams. Maybe you can get a game with Syracuse or with Pitt, or maybe you get one against Temple. You got to be mindful of these independent programs and the amount of money that they're going to spend flying all over the country to be able to play an independent schedule. So finding some games close to home really helps the bottom line, and I think can maybe raise the tide in terms of New England college football.
Cam Roberson started this drive by gaining 6. Then he lost 5, so 3rd and 9 with the first-team quarterback today, Andrew Brito, still on the field. Well, I think it's interesting to hear Ryan Bamford say that when UMass is not playing UConn or a Boston College, he roots for those schools. It's good for all of New England if one school does well. Nice pass from Brito to Sadiq Palmer, a long gainer, and a first down inside the 40-yard line of the Huskies.
And I agree. And look, what you're trying to do is create fans, right? You're trying to create excitement to be able to get fans, to get a following, to make all of these programs that much more appealing. And Brito ripped that ball out there to Palmer.
That's a long out pass that is caught by Melvin Hill, short of the first down, and so the clock will continue to run.
You know, we get back to the New England college football discussion. It really is about trying to set it up so that everyone can be successful. Now, I know for a lot of fans, the only thing that is successful is 11-1, 10-2. Those are unrealistic, quite honestly. Can you build a schedule to where you can have a winning record? And look, almost everybody with a winning record goes to a bowl. In fact, there are teams with losing records that are getting exceptions to be able to go to these bowl games. So if you're an independent like UConn or UMass or Liberty, you're thinking, can I be bowl eligible and can I bring some people with me to a bowl game that maybe is only going to seat 30, 35,000 people? You make yourself valuable, you build your brand. Ultimately, it can be good for all of New England college football to see these teams be successful.
Closing minutes of this one. Brennan Dingle sheds a tackle and gets inside the 20. It'll be 3rd down and 3. For UMass, 3 of the final 4 games on its schedule this year will be against other FBS independents, starting with Liberty next week. Gilberto Torres right up the middle. Torres in for the touchdown. First of his career. Recruited out of a junior college as a linebacker, Gilberto Torres, by sheer need, has been moved to the running back spot, and he sure looked good on that carry.
Yeah, good job of keeping his feet right there. Giving the band a little something to play about, I guess you should say. And you can tell his teammates are genuinely happy for him getting that ball in the end zone.
UMass gets to 35 points in this game. That ends the streak of 21 in a row scored by the Huskies. Boy, they are happy for Gilberto Torres out of Victor Valley Community College and by way of Willimantic, Connecticut.
Almost lost the football right there. They'll teach him to cover up the pill, but a great job of keeping the feet. So excited.
You know, he did it against his home state team.
Yeah, nothing better than that, right? And the streak will be broken for UConn.
You have to go back over 2 years since the Huskies beat an FBS opponent. You can see it was that win against Tulsa in the AAC just over 2 full years ago, and B won a road game. I imagine that this is going to be a feeling of vast relief for Randy Edsall and his staff.
Tell you what it'll be, a great bus ride home for his staff and his kids. There's nothing better than getting off the schneid, beating a team that you haven't seen in 20 years, but breaking that big streak against FBS opponents. And now who knows what we're going to get? Getting an onside kick or a kick deep? I think it's going deep.
That is indeed what Cooper Garcia does. Quavon Skanes took a fair catch. You know, when this game was still very much in the balance, that man Skanes, the reserve wide receiver, he threw a touchdown pass in this game. One of the highlights for a Connecticut offense that has gotten 5 touchdown runs out of its junior tailback, Kevin Mensah.
Well, in a dominating running game, and you got to give credit to those big guys up front. Now, I know the backups are starting to work their way in a little bit for UConn here as they're getting ready to take a knee, but that offensive line for UConn, Matt Pert, Cam DeGeorge, Nino Leone, Christian Haynes, Ryan Vandemark, they deserve a lot of credit. Good work up front today by the bigs. And for the UMass defense, it's back to the drawing board. How can they find a way to get better, be more stout? They got to fix this run game issue, or run defense issue, or else it's going to be a long month of November.
This is also the first career victory at quarterback for the freshman, Jack Zergiotis. First win of the season UConn had against Wagner. It was the grad transfer Mike Beaudry playing QB. They took a delay of game. No matter, there's the kneel down, and UConn should have to do it only one more time. So last year it was UMass going to Rentschler Field and winning in a monsoon on UConn's homecoming. Just about exactly a year later, it's the Huskies coming to Amherst and returning the favor. Huge offensive day. Connecticut rushing for over 300 yards in a dominating win over Massachusetts. And for Randy Edsel and company, an FBS win at long last.
Well, they earned it today. UMass punched UConn back. That is something that is a big positive in that they didn't make it easy on the Huskies, but to give the Huskies a lot of credit, they were able to pull away here in the fourth quarter. From the UMass perspective, they put some points on the board. Bilal Ali had a really nice day running the football. But they've got to try to fix the issues against the run, as you mentioned there, last in FBS football in terms of stopping the run, and that was a big, big problem for the Minutemen here today.
The Huskies improved to 2-6. UMass is 1-7. 4 games to go in 2019. Back at it next week right here at McGurk and right here on Flow Football and Nesson against the Liberty Flames. Liberty is 1 win away from qualifying for its first ever bowl game appearance. They come in with a 5-3 record. Well, the birthday boy has been your color analyst today. Happy 21 or so again, Mr. Gresh.
Sure, I'll take that. 21 works good, or as my mom has been working for 30 some odd years, the certain anniversary of her 30th birthday. There's Isaiah Rogers on the block early in this one. The interception. Rogers made the pick of Jack Zergiotis, but it was really Kevin Mensah today who got the job done. That got UConn on the board and made it 7-0. UMass bounced back. Bilal Ali, he was stuck hard, but ended up crossing the goal line. Kevin Mensah one more time getting the ball into the end zone. He had 5 touchdowns today. Andrew Brito to O.C. Johnson down the field early on. Unfortunately, not enough of those kind of plays for UMass.
So for Andy Gresh and Brandon London and our entire Flow Football crew, I'm Josh Maurer, wishing you a great rest of your weekend. Big win on the road for the AAC's Connecticut Huskies. We'll talk to you next week as UMass hosts Liberty at noon. Until then, so long, everyone.